Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If Naruto Was a Perverted Seal Master? Part 3. If you enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
One member of Team 7 stood in the Hokage's office while the leader of Konoha read Kakashi's report. The man's face was blank, so it was impossible to tell what he was thinking. When he was done with the scroll, he put it down and crossed his fingers while looking at the one Junin. Kakashi met his gaze. The copy ninja looked more determined than he usually did. His usual laid-back attitude was put on hold for now. Is everything here true, Kakashi? Hi. Well done, Team 7. You are now full ninja of Konoha, so congratulations. If you and Haku-san don't mind, I'd like to talk to Kakashi. As the team was about to leave, the Sandame stopped them. Oh, Naruto-kun? Yes, Oji-san. The other members of Team 7 were shocked. They had heard Naruto talk about his Oji-san, but he had never called the Hokage by that name in front of them or given any hint that was who he was talking about. Tomorrow at 7 a.m., Sai-kun and his usual guard will be on Training Ground 23. Hi. After that, the team left, and Kakashi had already told them they would have 2 days off from missions and training. As they left, both the Sandame and Kakashi saw Sasuke's reaction, which was a hint of suspicion that Naruto was getting something the Uchiha weren't. It didn't look like good things were going to happen soon, but that would have to wait. Kakashi. What were you thinking? As soon as those missing ninja attacked, you should have either stopped them or called for help right away. I really thought I could handle any risks that came up out of the blue. Yes, but you didn't handle it well. What do you think would have happened if you didn't have a Seal Master on your team? I would have had to fight Zabuza as we went into Wave. I might have won, but I couldn't go all out because I was worried about my students, and if his apprentice had attacked with him, I might have lost. Yes, this Haku person. She seems close to Naruto-kun, and that doesn't seem to bother you. During the mission, those two got closer. I made sure to keep an eye on them, Hokage-sama. She's not a threat, just a young woman trying to figure out who she is. They did spend a lot of time together because, for whatever reason, they get along. And after being with Zabuza for years, he leaves her for Kiri, but she comes here? She's not a murderer. Zabuza knew it, I know it, and I think you can tell that too. I'll let this go for now, but if this is a trick by Zabuza or if Naruto-kun gets hurt, everyone involved will know how upset I am. Kakashi's face didn't change, but he shivered at the thought of the Sandame's anger being shown. It often involved fire. A lot of flames. How lifelong smoker could have such big lungs was hard to understand. I'm sure she wouldn't hurt Naruto on purpose, sir. I wouldn't put Minato-sensei's son in danger. Yes, I can tell from the report. What really made you stop using the clone? Kakashi sighed before answering. I know that each of my students will have to kill someone at some point, but a fight and an assassination are different. They feel different, and there is usually a reason why a fight comes before an assassination. I don't know how Naruto would handle it, and I think that's the main reason. I couldn't be sure he wouldn't be overwhelmed. I get it, Kakashi. It makes sense to not throw them into the deep end, but situations change and you may not always have that choice. That being said, this was well done. I'll probably have Shikaku add this to the Chunin seminars on how to use basic techniques and advanced tactics. Kakashi said, with a hint of accusation, yes, you trained Naruto well. I haven't done much to directly train Naruto-kun. I've given him hints, stories, and suggestions, but not much else. Why? What's the problem? My team is unbalanced, very unbalanced. C ranks are supposed to push the team, but Naruto's sealing skills and personality change things. If I let him work at his full potential, Sasuke and Sakura don't get as much experience. If I hold Naruto back, Sasuke and Sakura get more experience, but they're also at a greater risk. I want my team to grow, but I didn't realize how talented Naruto was. That seal he made to tag Gado's men was done in an hour. I saw that. I'll have to think about adding that to our entrances. It's a good way to stop infiltrators. I see your point, Kakashi. The next C rank you want to take, I'll make Naruto unavailable, and we'll go from there. Kakashi nodded, and then he was sent away. Hiruzen thought about his grandson. It seemed like the boy's knowledge of the sealing arts was far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Kakashi was right, and it was great. Genin weren't supposed to be masters of any shinobi art, not even prodigies. Hiruzen thought that he might have to push Kakashi to enter his team in the Chunin exams, which were coming up soon. A few months had not yet passed, but Naruto-kun was not yet a genin. The old man started to think of plans and ways to make sure Naruto got a fair promotion. He would make Danzo's agent more available. The boys would really push each other, and Hiruzen would turn away as Danzo gave Naruto-kun more ninjutsu. He would also start to have Jiraiya really beat him up. Naruto-kun had done a good job of training himself, but it was time for him to find his limits and go beyond them. He'd even up the number of shadow clones you could make. This would put him even further behind his teammates, but it had to be done. He didn't want to put too much pressure on his grandson, so, like Kakashi, he tried to ease the boy into the way of life. But he was trying to stop an unstoppable wave, just like Kakashi. His conversation with the daimyo and Madame Shijimi showed that Naruto-kun wasn't someone who could stay hidden. They wouldn't be able to hide him after the Chunin exams. Haku and Naruto went for a walk through the town. She watched the villagers without being seen, and she could tell that many of them did feel uncomfortable when they saw her friend. She thought it was a waste that they didn't get to know him better because they were afraid of him. As her sense of who she was grew and as her relationship with Zabuza-sama changed, she came to really value his presence. It was nice that she could sit in silence with him and not feel awkward or like she had to talk. He never judged her, never demanded anything from her. It was a good thing. When she and Zabuza-sama decided to part ways, he even let her cry on his shoulder. Her master finally told the truth. He had put off going back to Kiri because he felt bad about losing. He used her as an excuse, and the fact that she didn't want to kill was a sign that she wasn't ready. He used her to avoid facing himself, and she did the same thing. It was hard to talk, but it was the first time they had talked as more than just boss and worker. He chose to go back to his home and fight for it, no matter what the rebels were doing. Her desire to go with him was automatic, but there was also a part of her that wanted something else. That wanted to find out more about herself and not be on the run or fighting. Zabuza-sama understood and gave his blessing, which surprised her. It had been a week since Gado had fallen. After that, she hung out with Naruto more and more when he wasn't working. They would train together, sit on the dock, or walk around Nami. When she told him how far her bloodline could go, Naruto was very interested. So much so that he worked on something all night and even called a small toad to help. He showed her his work the next day by having her send some Hyutin chakra through a seal. What happened? Snow like ice. What he had asked the toad for? Different kinds of fruits that could be used to make syrups. They spent the whole day giving the kids snow cones. She thought it was cute that his first thought wasn't about how to use it in battle but how to make people happy, even if only for a short time. Haku? She said. She had been thinking so much that she had just followed Naruto without paying much attention. We're here, and your room is next to mine. She wasn't sure what he meant by that because she thought she would only stay with him temporarily, until she got back on her feet. As they went up the stairs, they stopped at a door that didn't look very special. Naruto said, "You have to channel chakra through the doorknob." Haku did, and for a moment she saw a complicated seal appear on the door. Then the door opened and she walked through. The apartment was comfortable, and the living room had a blue sofa and chair that went with it. A coffee table and TV stand made of dark oak. Between the living room and the small kitchen, there was a small kitchen table. She walked toward one of the doors and saw that it led to a bedroom. The bed had brown sheets and a single nightstand. Chappie had his own bed, where he was sleeping peacefully. She walked up to the closet and saw that it was full of clothes and shoes for women that were all her size. The Yuki clanswoman didn't know what to do. "And Naruto, where are your things? And why did you do this, for me? This is your apartment next door. I had Gamakichi ask Ino-chan for help, so she picked all of that out. Ero Donna put up the security seals. Remember when I had you channel chakra into that seal on the way here? It was so that the security would know that you were its main users." Haku ran over to the boy and gave him a big hug. "Thanks, Naruto. As soon as I can, I'll pay you back." He said, "You don't have to. I own the building now, and you're my friend," as if that said everything. Having her own space that she could do with as she pleased almost made her cry. It was almost too much to have a home. Naruto just hugged her back, not really getting what he was trying to say. He made sure she had a place to stay and new clothes if she wanted or needed them. Ero Donna was the one who told him he should buy his building. The building wasn't in his name, but in the name of his company, Uzunami. Uzunami even had a company called Vortex Seals that made seals. It was a way to hide Naruto and keep people from asking why a 12-year-old orphan was getting so rich so quickly. It also helped hide the fact that his parents gave him their seals and his inheritance. Because of this, giving Haku a room for as long as she needed it wasn't hard. Soon, Haku let go of her and wiped the tears from her eyes. Before he left, Naruto asked her if she was interested in meeting some of his friends later. She said yes, and when Naruto left, Aerodana was standing at his door. "Aerodana?" he asked, and he saw the sage lower his head. "Gaki, you can't call me that anymore. But you said in your introduction that you were a really bad person." "Okay, I get it. But how am I supposed to meet girls if you keep calling me Master Pervert?" Jiraiya asked as he watched Naruto rub his chin. "Were you already getting ladies before I started calling you that?" "Why, you little brat," he said, but he didn't sound angry, and Naruto gave his godfather a small smile. He thought the man was funny. "I'm here on a mission, Gaki. Someone has some seal work I've never been able to figure out. I want you to check it out, and on the way you can tell me about your first C rank and this enemy Kunoichi you dated." Naruto replied, "Romanced? I didn't romance anyone. I think you'd do better with women if you knew what romance meant, Jiraiya." He looked at Jiraiya with a bit of confusion in his eyes. "I literally wrote the book on shinobi romance. Your female characters aren't well thought out enough." As the two left the complex, Jiraiya said, "I swear, everyone's a critic." Jiraiya took Naruto to a secure Anbu facility and led him through a network of tunnels until they came to a room where they could seal the door. Anko was sitting on a hospital bed as Jiraiya and Naruto walked in. Jiraiya was surprised to see Naruto. "What's the half-pint doing here, Jiraiya-sama? I don't want some newbie looking at my seal." "Don't worry, Anko. Naruto is a certified seal master, just like the one sensei told you about." She held up her wrist to show the Fuin bracelet and asked, "Who made this?" "They're the same, and that's a secret, so don't tell anyone." Anko didn't seem sure. She knew Jiraiya wouldn't mess with her about this, but it was hard to believe that a new genin could do something that not even a Sannin had been able to do. But she was desperate to get away from the seal, and even if the kid could only help a little, it would be worth it. "Okay, Blondie, let's see what you can do." Naruto nodded and walked over. He made a series of hand gestures and then turned on his projection screen as he watched the seal release its air. Anko thought he was just staring into space, but Jiraiya could see the boy putting together and taking apart seals through his projection, so he knew the boy was already working. Naruto went over the parts of the seal more than once. It was a pretty complicated seal, and one of the reasons it was so hard to move was that it attached itself right away to the chakra network. But there were ways to get around that. Naruto was confused by the other parts, so when he said, "That's not right," the two adults in the room became interested in what the Uzumaki was seeing. Naruto would have told them if they had asked. The seal held a consciousness and another kind of energy that Naruto didn't recognize right away as chakra. It had limiters built into the seal to deal with aggression and muscle activity, as if the body couldn't handle an expected increase in strength and would break down if it weren't capped in some way. There were also some other things in here, like a slight boost to the rate of healing and better reaction time and awareness. But Naruto went back to the control and limiters. There was nothing in the seal that could explain why they were needed or how that other energy was used. Even though there wasn't an array that led to it, he could tell that the seal was supposed to react to it. Naruto wasn't happy about the puzzle. The blonde felt like he was missing something obvious and making a wrong guess, but he couldn't figure out what it was. He had done a careful analysis, and he knew it wasn't in the seal. The chakra system that was damaged did activate the seal, but that was all it did. The seal was already complete. If it wasn't the seal itself, it could have been how it was used. "Anko-chan, how did you get this seal on you?" She spat, "I was bitten." Naruto was surprised by this because he had never heard of a seal being put on through the mouth. He started to think about why that might be the case. Seals made with chakra are usually made by hand. Naruto wondered if the bite could mean something. He used his diagnostic jutsu on the seal. Up until that point, he had thought it was made of ink or chakra. The diagnostic jutsu showed that it was also a seal that was a mix of chakra and some kind of organic compound. This seal must react to the energy that has been stored. Naruto was shocked by how stupid the seal was. There have always been organic compounds that can react and interact with chakra. If they were new, chakra would not be poisonous. But there is a reason why chakra is made up of both yin and yang. Enzymes can make chakra unstable, and the reactions that follow basically override the parts of chakra that were made on purpose. People no longer have any control over their lives. This gives way to a natural reaction, whether it's a weakening of the chakra network or something else this seal was meant to do. Before Naruto could break the seal, he would have to find a way to stop the enzyme from working. But first, he would have to figure out what kind of energy was in the chakra. He didn't know, but he was hoping that Jiraiya did. He called the Toad Sage over and gave him access to his predictions, both the seals and the chemical breakdown of the sealing material. Jiraiya looked at it carefully before swearing a lot. Naruto waited until Jiraiya was done talking, but Anko looked nervous, which Jiraiya noticed. "Sorry, Anko, I didn't mean to scare you. That fool tried to make a Sage Mode seal that would give the person it was put on Senjutsu. That wouldn't work because the enzyme is unstable with the energy, and because of its effects, the host can't control it either," Naruto said. "Right. He must have dabbled in Senjutsu, but never in a big way. If I had to guess, whatever he added to the seals wasn't perfectly balanced, which would only make things worse." Anko asked in a bit of a panic, "What does that mean? Can't you take it off after all?" "I can break the seal if I can find a way to neutralize the enzyme, even if it's just for a moment," Naruto said to a pair of wide eyes. "What? Gaki, do you know how to take it off?" "Given the conditions I set, I think I do, but I can't give you a time frame because I don't want to give you false hope, Anko-chan." "You haven't." Jiraiya said, "I think we should leave and get to work. We don't want to leave a pretty lady in trouble." "I'll go to work, but I'd be just as hardworking if you weren't so pretty, Anko-chan." "That makes me feel better, blonde," Anko said with a laugh as he watched the two leave. She knows the boy didn't want to give her false hope, but it was hard not to think about a life without her seal, without her past, and without Orochimaru. Naruto and Jiraiya left the building, but as they did, Naruto was busy making plans in his head. He would have to put some of his projects on hold until he figured out what was going on. He told 20 clones to go to the labs at the hospital and start looking for a way to stop the enzyme. He also thought that Jiraiya might know about the Senjutsu energy being used and have a way to stop it. He asked, and Jiraiya made a funny face. "I might, but I can't promise anything. Your best bet is to keep going the way you are. If you can't think of anything else, I'll see what I can do." "Why wait? If your way doesn't work, that's fine, but why save it for the end of the line? I don't get it." "It's hard, Naruto. Just do what you can, and if you can, ask Tsunade and Shizune for help. You're being vague for no reason and putting off helping someone who needs it. If your reasons are as good as you say, you just tell me." Before leaving on a shunshin, Jiraiya told Naruto, "I know this isn't easy, but just have faith." Naruto's face showed a small frown because he didn't think this was all about Anko-chan's seal. No matter what it was, the Uzumaki didn't think that waiting to free a fellow soldier was worth it. He forgot about it for now because he wanted to sleep before his plans for the night. After a few hours, Naruto and Haku were heading toward the Hyuga compound. He had on a blue shirt with a V-neck, black pants, and blue sandals. Haku was wearing a kimono with flowers and aquamarine and black sandals with low heels. Naruto was telling her more about Hinata and the Hyuga when they looked up and saw Ino in front of them. She looked very sad. So that they could catch up to the Yamanaka heiress, the two sped up. Naruto asked, "Ino-chan, what's wrong?" "Asuma-sensei has made our training harder," she said, though she was a little strained. "Oh, I thought you said he was lazy. How did you get him to train you more?" Naruto asked the Yamanaka, who blushed. She didn't want to tell that story because it wasn't exactly a career highlight. "Asuma-sensei, you need to train us better. We're the worst team in our graduating class," Ino almost shouted at Asuma, who wouldn't change his mind. She had asked him before to step up their training, but he always turned her down. "Ino, you're just a genin. I don't want you guys to get burned out on this way of life, so what's the hurry?" "The rush? The rush is that I won't lose my virginity to Hinata Hyuga and Naruto Uzumaki because I was too weak to stand up to that little psycho," Ino gasped and then blushed. She then told her team what had happened and why she was trying to get stronger. Asuma agreed because he saw this as a way to stop the Uzumaki from being a trio. As a distraction, Ino said, "Naruto, aren't you going to introduce me to your guest?" "Oh, Yamanaka Ino-chan, this is Yuki Haku. It's nice to meet you, Ino-san. I hear that my wardrobe is thanks to you." "Nice to meet you, too, and I'm glad you like it. A toad asking you to go shopping with a wad of cash isn't something that happens every day." "Well, you have good taste, so I'm glad you like it. I'm sure we'll be great friends, Haku-san. The three of them walked the rest of the way and were let into the compound right away. As they followed their guard, they ran into the clan head and Hinata's father, Hiyashi. Both Ino and Haku bowed and said hello in a polite way. Naruto did not. Good evening, Hyuga Hiyashi-san. Hiyashi wanted to roll his eyes at the boy. It was impressive how he could be formal like Minato but not care about titles like Kushina. Part of him wondered if he did it on purpose, but he couldn't tell from his face. He thought he owed the Uzumaki something for helping Hinata get over her crippling shyness, but what he did to Hanabi wasn't as good. Today, I will beat you, Uzumaki, he said. Hiyashi just sighed. When she was little, his daughter was so polite. She rolled her eyes and said, Hanabi, that's not how we greet guests in this house. His daughter's eyes rolled. Hello to all of you, even Uzumaki Teme. Hinata called out, Hanabi, from behind her father and sister. Hanabi said, she won't always be here to protect you, and then she stormed off.
Ino asked, Naruto, what did you do to her? I beat her in a staring contest, Naruto said. When he saw that they didn't believe him, he just shrugged. He didn't really understand it himself.
Hinata said, come this way, dinner will be served soon, and Hiyashi watched as the young ninja went into a small dining room. He left them alone and instead talked to Hanabi about how rude she was being. The four people got comfortable and had dinner together while telling stories. Both Ino and Hinata were interested in Naruto's C rank, since neither of them had been given one yet. Naruto told the details, but he also added his impressions and other things to make it more interesting, as several books on communication had suggested. At the end of his story, he talked about the client's daughter and grandson. Naruto said, so she put together a picnic basket for Haku and me, and she hugged me a lot. She was really weird, and all the girls in the room laughed. What? Naruto-kun, she was just being nice, and from what you said about Inari following you, it sounds like she did it because her son found you so interesting. That was motherly? He asked, and three heads nodded. Well, it wasn't too bad, I guess. Ino asked Haku, so, what are your plans? I honestly don't know. I haven't been safe in one place for so long that I don't know what I'd do if I were. I want to keep my skills sharp, but I don't know if I want to be a ninja. Without a clan affiliation, that might be hard. What about a reservist? You get the status, but you don't have to go on missions unless you want to, Ino suggested, and Haku smiled. That could work. All I need to do is find a job, and I'll be good to go. Naruto said, you can work with me, Haku. He did need people to work for him. If I did, would you teach me how to do fuinjutsu? Naruto put out his hand and said, I think we're on the same page. No, fair, Naruto-kun. You never offered to teach me fuinjutsu, Ino said, half joking. She knew how good Naruto was at sealing and would be happy to learn from him. Hinata's cold look told her she might have gone too far. You never asked, Ino-chan, Naruto said. He wondered if Ino had trouble telling him what she wanted, since she seemed to think he would know what she wanted even if she didn't say it.
She's just kidding, Naruto-kun. Besides, she wouldn't have time with all the extra training she's doing to protect your maidenhood. Ino was shocked. How did the little psycho know that? The way Hinata smiled at her made her feel like a cat watching a canary. She did finally calm down, and the rest of the evening went smoothly. Haku and Naruto left first. They thanked Hinata for letting them stay and said goodnight to Ino and her. Only Ino and Hinata were left, and both of them needed to talk.
Ino-chan, I'm not some crazed lunatic. I don't enjoy intimidating you, but Naruto-kun is my best friend and has helped me in ways I can never repay. When you complain about things he hasn't given you, it makes him think he missed something a normal person would have noticed. I won't let you make me think poorly of himself. Ino sighed. She really hadn't considered how her teasing would be interpreted by Naruto. She had grown to like him, and she was so used to how he was that she sometimes forgot that she could hurt him by being rude. You're right. Naruto is a friend of mine, and I think we can be friends too if you stop freaking me out. I can try, Ino, but if you think badly of me, it won't work. Do you mean that why do you think I'd share your first time? Hinata laughed as she walked back into the compound. Ino stared in horror at the gates before she smiled. Even though she couldn't tease Naruto yet, it looked like the Hyuga was ready to play. She was excited about making a new female friend because she hadn't had one since she and Sakura broke up. Tenzo didn't pay attention to his men while they were fighting in a dangerous battle. The longtime Anbu agent smiled as he thought back to his early days of hard training with his peers, when they pushed each other to get better. The boys' sessions were getting more intense, but they trusted each other, and they never hurt each other in a big way, so it was fine for them to push their limits together. Since Sai was trained by Danzo-sama, it was hard to judge his full set of skills, but Naruto was growing by leaps and bounds, even though his resistance seals were still in place. The boys were trading fists in a smooth way. One would strike, the other would block and strike back, but that was always avoided. It was a ballet of violence that happened over and over again. But Sai managed to sneak in a right hook that knocked Naruto backwards. The root went after his target right away, but Naruto wasn't as open as Sai thought he would be. Sai jumped in and gave Naruto a kick, but Naruto dodged it. Sai landed, turned, and then threw a roundhouse. Naruto just missed the attack in the roundhouse that came after it. He fought back with a spin kick. Sai got hit in the chin and knocked off his feet. Naruto came in with a flying stomp, but Sai rolled out of the way and grabbed a kunai as he did so.
He ran back in, and the handshake kept going. Sai came in with a stab from above. Naruto did a slap block with his other hand on Sai's wrist, which made Sai's grip on his wrist loosen. Naruto moved his hand up and hit the kunai into the air. He then continued to attack by punching Sai 3 times. The first 2 palm strikes hit, but the third one didn't because Sai kicked Naruto away and caught his kunai with ease. Sai didn't stop moving, so he did a leg sweep that knocked Naruto off his feet.
The Uzumaki didn't stop fighting. He knew that Sai would attack again, so he did a handstand and spun away from Sai's attack. When he got back on his feet, he had taken his own kunai out of the holster on his leg. When the boys fought again, sparks could be seen coming from where their kunai met. Naruto jumped at Sai and put both hands on his shoulders while doing a handstand. He then continued to flip the root ninja over. He fell behind Sai and gave him a mule kick. Sai fell forward, but when Naruto came at him, Sai was able to stop him and throw the blonde to the ground. Naruto kicked Sai in the middle, which made him move away and gave Naruto a chance to attack again. As if he were Naruto, Sai did a side flip over the charging blonde and hit Naruto in the face when he turned to face Sai.
Naruto hit Sai in the chin with a jumping front kick, then made a series of hand signs to release a wind style, great breakthrough jutsu. Sai dodged the attack and moved closer to Naruto. He hit Naruto in the solar plexus, then kicked him in the stomach, and finished by pointing his kunai at his opponent, who was now on the ground. Naruto looked up and nodded at Sai to show that he knew he had lost, and Sai helped his friend up. The 2 people made the seal of reconciliation and then fell down.
Kakashi asked Tenzo as he sat next to him with his head in a book, "Do they usually go that hard?" Tenzo knew his senpai had seen every second of the fight. "It's getting worse as Naruto gets better. Are you worried?" Kakashi thought. "About Naruto's safety, you wouldn't be here unless Sandaime-sama told you to, so I trust he's not in danger. But he's better at direct combat than I thought." He knew Naruto was stronger than his other teammates, but he still thought Sasuke was better at fighting. It looked like that was no longer true. Just more proof that his team didn't have a good balance. What are they going to do now? It depends. Sometimes they train in ninjutsu, sometimes it turns into a book club, and sometimes they work on their own art. As Tenzo was answering, he felt someone coming closer. While quiet, said person was not quiet enough to avoid Anbu detection. He saw a young woman in her mid-teens or younger holding a snow rabbit. She had long hair. She wore a dark blue shirt and skirt that went well together. "Good morning, Naruto. I assume Sai is with you?" "Good morning, Haku." Sai said, "Hello, Haku-san. Naruto mentioned you briefly, but you're not what I expected." "Oh, I hope I didn't let you down." "No, I'm not disappointed. It's just that with Hinata-san, Shizune-san, and Tsunade-sama, I thought Naruto liked his women bustier." Haku didn't hesitate to throw several senbon at Sai, most of which hit him in the legs and knocked him down. Haku had a frown on, but her light blush took away from it. "I guess I shouldn't have said that," Sai said, and Naruto nodded in agreement. "Besides, I like Haku's breasts," Naruto said. Haku's face turned redder, and Naruto thought he heard laughter from the trees. He didn't care and carefully moved the senbon away from Sai, hoping this wouldn't happen again. Hiruzen stared at Naruto intently, as if the boy's emotionless eyes were hiding something. He was really just glad that his grandson didn't ask him another sexual question. He could go a while without that, even though it scared him when his grandson asked him sexual questions and then went to Jiraiya or Kakashi. But those worries could be put off for now. Naruto had asked Hiruzen for advice on teaching, an area where the professor had a lot of experience. Naruto said that this Haku girl wanted to help him and also join the Ninja Corps as a reserve. Naruto had to teach her Fuinjutsu as part of the deal. A fair request, and it would take years to learn Fuinjutsu, unless Naruto was also a genius at teaching it. Hiruzen wasn't sure if he should pray that he wasn't or hope that he was. Hiruzen gathered his thoughts and thought back to when he taught his team. It was one of the best times of his life, even though it ended with one of the worst things he ever did. He stopped thinking about how sad things were and finally replied to Naruto. Well, Naruto-kun, teaching is one of the hardest things to do. The easier you find a subject, the harder it is to teach it, because you don't see where other people are having trouble. It can take time to find your teaching style and learn to be flexible enough to adapt to your students' learning styles.
What do I do? Talk. Explain things as you understand them, but also listen to what Haku has learned. What we teach and what our students learn aren't always the same, but if you're patient with each other and work hard, I think you can be an excellent instructor. Just be patient with your student and yourself, and know that if you have trouble, you can come to me or ask Tsunade or Jiraiya for help, as they both have years of experience teaching difficult, highly skilled students.
Or Hitaki-sensei. Yes, even him, said Hiruzen with a laugh. Naruto nodded. How's that other project coming along? Naruto said, not well, but Hiruzen could tell from the way he said it that he was upset. Even with Tsunade's help, they hadn't been able to find a way to stop the compound in just 2 weeks. Don't give up, Naruto-kun. I know you want to help Anko, but don't do too much, okay? I'll try, Oji-san. Good, my boy. Now, you know you'll be touring the factory that makes your Fuin bracelets at the end of the week. The rest of your team will be taking a C rank during that time, but I've sent a special Junin to accompany you. Naruto had asked to see the factory, and Hiruzen thought the boy could update the security while there. He would send Jiraiya, but he was out gathering information, and Hiruzen had seen how angry his student and grandson were with each other and thought Jiraiya was giving Naruto some space. Naruto nodded once more and said goodbye to his Oji-san before leaving to go to Ichiraku Ramen. Hitaki-sensei gave him some time off so he could focus on Sasuke and Sakura. Naruto didn't mind because he had plenty of people to train with. One of them was sitting at the ramen stand when he got there. Hello, Haku. Sorry, if I'm late. As Naruto sat down, he saw Ayame walk up to him with a smile on her face. Hello, Naruto-kun. What do you have planned for today? Naruto started to say, hello, Ayame-san, but before he could finish, a girl jumped halfway across the stand, grabbed his cheeks, and pulled them in opposite directions. Ayame Ni-chan, she slowly said. Hi, Ayame Ni-chan. Alright, what do you want? Naruto said, the usual, and rubbed his cheeks. Haku laughed because it was the most like a child her friend had ever been. It wasn't a surprise to her because Naruto often went to the ramen stand, and the young woman working there was also friendly, especially with Naruto. Haku knew there was a story there, but he decided to ask about it later. She just liked it when Naruto was treated like a normal 12-year-old boy every once in a while. Tsunade walked into her office with a lot on her mind. It was one of her many therapy sessions, and after each one, she needed time to relax. It was hard to not feel bad about not having done this sooner, especially since it didn't take long to figure out that the last Senju was sad about more than just Dan and Nawaki's deaths. Even though she still missed them and felt like a failure, her grief was complex. She often felt like a hypocrite because she couldn't get over their deaths, even though she was one of the most deadly shinobi in recent history. How many boyfriends and brothers and sisters did she steal? How many sad family members did she send to the bottom of a bottle because being drunk hurts less than being sober? How could she be praised as a doctor when her hands were full of blood? She had lived a double life, which most doctors who came after her could avoid. She felt alone in many ways because the different parts of herself were always fighting with each other. At least, they used to be like that. It wasn't quick, and the mind didn't heal right away, but Tsunade was slowly finding a way to accept all of herself, good and bad. She was almost over her fear of blood, and she expected to go back to surgery soon. She had even started training seriously with Shizune again, letting herself feel real joy without being torn apart by a lot of guilt. The Senju started on her paperwork, glad that she didn't have nearly as much to do as her sensei. She worked in a methodical way and paid attention to the budget reports, the first plans for the program to train medics, and the new security clearances. Those had been slow because the frontline Junin and Anbu were more important than the medics, but they were making progress and most of the senior staff had been cleared. Tsunade heard a knock at the door and let the person in. She smiled when she saw Shizune standing there with Taunton at her feet. "I figured you might want some tea before you started your day, Tsunade-sama," Shizune said as she put the mug on the desk of her longtime teacher. "Thank you, Shizune." "Oink, and you, too, Taunton," Tsunade added with a laugh. Shizune asked, "How was your session?" Tsunade said, "This is hard but good. I just wish I'd done it sooner so things could have been different. Things can be different now, and I like to focus on that." "You're very smart, Shizune. How did that happen?" "My teacher was good. She taught me what not to do." "Ha ha ha. If you keep it up, I might start telling people how you cried when you couldn't save the fish." Shizune said, "Tsunade-sama, that's not even close to true," but Tsunade just shrugged. It doesn't have to be true for it to be believed. Tsunade thought Shizune would give up, but the dangerous look in her eyes told her that wouldn't happen. "If you do that, I'll know you're reading Icha Icha." "You probably wouldn't." "I would, Tsunade-sama." "Fine. But one day I'll find something really embarrassing about you that I can use against you," Tsunade said, annoyed that in all the years they had known each other, she had never seen Shizune do anything really embarrassing. Shizune laughed it off as she left the office. It was fun to know something about Asani. "They don't look like much," said Tenten in a dry way. Ma, Tenten-chan, they're still new. You remember when you were just a few months out of the academy, right?" Kakashi asked, but he didn't expect an answer. He was glad he made Sakura train with Naruto in the mornings, because if he hadn't, this would have been a very sad sight. Kakashi asked Guy for a replacement genin for the next mission, and Guy was kind enough to offer his one and only Kunoichi. Kakashi liked it because she was normal and well-trained, unlike his other two students. Sakura yelled, "Cha, who the hell are you?" "I'm Tenten, a member of Team 9 and the future weapons mistress. I'm a little offended that you don't know, because your other teammate offers to bed me but doesn't talk about me. I feel unappreciated." Sasuke asked, as he always did, "Kakashi, why is she here?" "At the end of the week, we'll be taking another C rank, but without Naruto. Tenten-chan will replace him, and she'll train with us for a few days so we can all get to know each other." "HN. Tenten said and meant, "What does HN mean?" "I've got one pretty boy prodigy to deal with. I'm not going to learn a new language for you. Use whole words." She might like Neji, but he might also be trying, and she didn't care enough about the Uchiha to go through that. Sasuke was just surprised that a girl his age told him off, even if it was just a little bit. He decided he didn't like it. "I don't take orders from second-rate Kunoichi," Sasuke said. He felt something cool move quickly across his cheek, and then he felt a cut and heard a thud. When he turned around, he saw a kunai stuck in a tree behind him. He turned back to face Tenten with a frown, and saw that she was holding several more kunai in each hand. "I don't take crap from rookies," Tenten started, especially not from those who aren't even the strongest on their team. She thought the Uchiha was a lot like Neji, with too much pride to be controlled but just enough to be manipulated. Sasuke took the challenge that wasn't said out loud and charged at the older Kunoichi. Kakashi let them talk about their differences, but he would stop them from hurting each other too badly if they got too angry. He had a book to read until then. 1 minute into the fight, Sasuke was already angry. Tenten countered his speed and taijutsu by keeping him at a distance. Every way he tried to get closer failed, and he was full of small cuts and nicks. It was as if she had seen everything before and knew exactly where to throw those stupid kunai. He was getting angry and was thinking about using fire jutsu on her to teach her a lesson. He instead gave in. He had insulted her at first, but she had shown him how wrong he was. He didn't like to lose, but since he was wrong, there was no point in making things worse. "I give, you win, and I'm sorry for insulting you," Sasuke said, and the Kunoichi nodded in agreement, neither teasing nor gloating. Kakashi, who had just joined them, said, "That was quite a show. It looks like we'll have to teach you how to deal with long-range opponents, Sasuke-kun. Now, patch yourself up and take a short break. We'll start team training in 10 minutes. Haku was surprised by how much Naruto ate at the small ramen stand, but the other people there didn't think it was strange at all and went about their business as usual. After paying for their food, Naruto made sure to call Ayame by the right name so he wouldn't get his cheeks pinched again. Haku went with Naruto when he took Sakura to his favorite place to train for her first lesson. They moved together in silence, but Haku felt like he should tense up. She couldn't figure out what it was, but she had the feeling that someone was watching her. It didn't feel like a shinobi with a lot of experience, but years of working with Zabuza-sama had taught her to trust her gut. She didn't have to wait for long, because 3 slow-moving blurs came right at them. In response, Naruto made 2 copies of himself. He then grabbed all 3 of them out of the air and made them ride on his back. "Ni-chan!" yelled an excited little boy. The other 2 cheered, "Boss!" "Haku, this is Kono-chan, and these are Moegi and Udon, 2 of his friends. Say hello to Haku from all of you." All 3 of them said, "Hi, Haku-san," at the same time. "Oh, so you're the infamous trio of pranksters. Naruto-kun told me about your antics." Her words made all 3 of them blush a little. "You're talking about us, Ni-chan?" Naruto said, yes, as his clones followed him to the training ground. "Why aren't you guys at the school?" "We didn't have class today," Konohamaru said. "You know that I'll ask Iruka-sensei, right?" "Hi. I wouldn't lie to you again," Konohamaru said, thinking back to the one time he lied to Naruto. It wasn't a good time, and he promised himself that he would never do it again. "On top of that, I never see you anymore. I always send a copy of you, Kono-chan." "It's not the same," protested the young Sarutobi. He didn't want a clone. He wanted his older brother. I'll remember that." "Yay. What are we going to learn from you today?" "I have plans with Haku today, so I won't be able to teach you anything." When the 3 kids started to pout, Haku said, maybe they could join us since it would just be the basics. Naruto didn't say anything while he thought about what she could do. "I could, but if I teach you 3 fuinjutsu, you have to promise to practice your calligraphy every day and never break a seal without letting me look it over first." "Deal," said Konohamaru, speaking for the other 2. "Okay, hold on," was the only warning the kids got as the 3 Narutos did a shunshin and Haku followed close behind. "You have to show me how to use them. I don't have to do anything." "Pleeeeeaase. No," Ino yelled, "guys, back me up here." Team 10 was coming back from a mission that got a C rank. It wasn't hard to do. Several times, messengers from a private delivery service had been ambushed along different roads. Team 10 was supposed to set up one of these ambushes and find out if someone was selling information or if the bandits themselves were in charge. Somehow, the party in question found out that Team 10 had a much bigger group. Even though everyone had to fight, Asuma used his knuckle knives to kill most of the enemy. Ino was immediately taken with her, so she asked, begged, and pleaded with Asuma to teach her. He'd been unwilling to do so. Shikamaru said, "This is a mess, and I don't want anything to do with it." "I don't see the harm, Asuma-sensei," replied Choji. "You can see that Choji is with me. Yeah, don't worry about it. You don't need these, and you're not likely to have an affinity for wind or lightning anyway." "So what?" yelled Ino. She couldn't figure out why this man was so hard to get to teach her things. She didn't know how to use ninjutsu to attack or defend herself yet. She was getting better at taijutsu, but this would give her a huge advantage. Asuma told Ino, "There's no need to rush. Get the basics down before you start adding new things." He saw Yamanaka start to answer, but then stop herself. "How about making a bet?" "A bet?" "Yes, if I can beat both Shikamaru and Choji in our next training session, you'll teach me how to use those knives. And if you lose, what do I get? What do you want?" "You have to do my laundry and clean my apartment for a month." "It's a done deal. Shikamaru says, there's nothing in it for me to do this." "You only think I'm troublesome, Shika. Do you want to see what that looks like when I try?" Ino asked in a threatening way. "That stinks. Buy me some barbecue and I'm good," Choji said. "I'm sorry that your lesson got interrupted, Haku." "It was fine, Naruto-kun. Even though you helped them, I still learned a lot, and I think it's cute how much they look up to you." "They do?" Naruto asked, a bit puzzled. "I think so, especially for Konohamaru. It wouldn't surprise me if he wanted to learn fuinjutsu just because he knows his big brother is good at it." "But shouldn't he want to do things that he's good at?" "Yes, but sometimes when you care about someone and admire them, you want to do some of the things they do. I'll never be good at kenjutsu, but my stealth and silent killing skills are thanks to Zabuza-sama. I wanted to learn the things he was good at." "Oh," was all that Naruto could say. He could relate because his Oji-san was the reason he wanted to be the Hokage one day, but he thought he had to do it his own way. However, the more he thought about it, the more he realized that his different sensei weren't just teaching him skills, but the skills they worked hard to perfect and the things they thought were important. So, it's like a legacy? Naruto asked. Right, and no matter what you do, a little bit of you lives on in your students and their students. Because of you, there may always be people who see Fuinjutsu as a way for chakra to communicate with the world and not just a way to fight. Naruto said, I think I like that, after he had thought about it. Could you show me how to do something? Yes, I can, but why? Because that way, no matter what, I'll always have a piece of you and spread your legacy. That's very sweet, Naruto-kun. Naruto looked back at her, a little confused. He wasn't trying to be sweet, but he shrugged. About that, he would have to talk to his Oji-san later. The two kept going until they got to their own apartments, where they both said goodbye. Haku would spend the day thinking about what to teach Naruto, and Naruto would split his time between getting ready for the new mission and trying to figure out the last mystery of Enko's cursed seal. Both sets of eyes didn't blink as they looked at each other. Inoichi did not like it at all when the Uzumaki came to his door. Inoichi was even more annoyed that the boy didn't seem to care about Inoichi's stern look. But Naruto's answer to Inoichi's question was the last straw. I'm here for your daughter, Yamanaka Inoichi-san. Inoichi asked sarcastically, oh, and would you like to go see my wife when you're done? Naruto didn't answer, though he wondered if Mrs. Yamanaka needed a seal or was sick. Instead, he just walked past the clan leader. Hinata sent him a message saying that Ino needed help, so he went over there right away. Inoichi spoke again, saying, Ino is in her room, which is upstairs and to the left. The Uzumaki said, thank you, Yamanaka-san, before leaving for his final destination. When he got to Ino's room and knocked on the closed door, he was a little surprised when the door flew open and a nearly panicked Ino pulled him into her room and put him on her bed. Hinata smiled, but it wasn't like her usual smile, so he wasn't sure if this was funny or not. I'm glad you're here, Naruto-kun. Hinata-chan told me you could help me, and I'm glad she was right. I said Naruto-kun might have an idea to help you since your mouth got you in trouble, Ino-chan, the Hyuga said to correct him. Same diff, Ino said with a shrug, and she went back to her near-panic state right away.
Like Hinata said, you're my only hope, Ino said. This made Hinata stare at Ino blankly, wondering if the girl had the power to deny reality as she saw fit. Naruto did nothing but sit still. Ino had learned that Naruto speak included a lot of silence and blank stares, so she figured that he was waiting for her to tell him what the real problem was because his presence meant he was willing to help. She found out that Naruto didn't just say what was clear.
Okay, so here's my problem. On our last C-rank mission, things went wrong, but we were able to handle it. During combat, I saw Asuma-sensei using these knuckle knives, and they looked so cool. Of course, I begged him to teach me. I'm so far behind. Even Forehead Girl might be getting ahead of me since she trains with you, right? Sakura-san's progress has been about what we thought it would be. See. That's just Naruto-kun talking for, that walking billboard is getting stronger. I just want an edge, an ace that no one knows about, and it would help my taijutsu. These are all good points, Ino-chan, but I don't see how I can get Asuma-san to train you. Oh, no, that's not what I need help with. I challenged Asuma-sensei. I said that if I could beat Shikamaru and Choji at the same time, he'd have to train me, and he agreed. The problem is, Shikamaru is crazy smart. Maybe even smarter than Sakura and you. Choji is a sweetheart, but he's a tank. Only Sasuke-kun, Kiba, and Naruto asked, when is your challenge? Asuma-sensei gave us 2 days off after 3 days, and we'll settle the bet when we get back. Will you help me? Yes, Naruto started, but was cut off. But I won't give you any seals, the Uzumaki said in the end. What? Why? Come on, you could easily catch them in something, Ino complained. Maybe, but this is your challenge, Ino-chan, not mine. This is a chance for you to get better, and I wouldn't be a good friend if I took that away from you. Ino wanted to beg some more, but Hinata's slight smile told her everything she needed to know. You knew that he'd say no, didn't you? Yes, Hinata said with a smile, but that doesn't mean we can't help you, Ino-chan. We just won't solve your problem for you. Before giving up, Ino huffed and said, fine, what can I do? Ino-chan. What are the rules of this game? Probably just the usual rules for sparring, since Asuma-sensei didn't say anything before we left. Oh, I see. Then the challenge has already begun, Naruto said, which made Ino look at him as if she didn't understand. No, Naruto-kun, we fight on Friday. No, Ino-chan, you only have to look like you won on Friday. That doesn't mean you can't take steps to make sure you win before then. Shikamaru and Choji should be doing the same, if possible. But it's just a spar. No, Ino-chan, it's an assassination mission, and the client wants to watch you kill at a certain time. What? Outside of your agreement with Asuma-san and the laws of Konoha, you are free to act. It would be irresponsible of you not to look for every advantage, Ino-chan. My Oji-san says that a shinobi has done something wrong if they find themselves in a fair fight. Ino was stunned by what Naruto said, and she wondered if this was how he thought about things, looking at training through the lens of future missions or a shinobi's morals. Even though the statement was short, it would have a big impact. Ino felt small and immature, and she wondered if that was why Asuma-sensei didn't want to train her more. She thought in too simple steps. On the day of the spar, she was worried about who would win. It was stupid for an academy student to think that way. He wouldn't want to teach her advanced skills because she was still playing ninja. She should have known that the fight would happen as soon as Asuma-sensei accepted the bet. Worst of all, she thought her friend would just solve her problem so she could get what she wanted. Naruto didn't understand why the Yamanaka heiress hung her head in shame. Hinata, on the other hand, knew exactly what was going on because she was used to seeing Ino's body language show shame and self-criticism. When she felt arms around her, Ino jumped a little, but she quickly relaxed into the hug. It's okay, Ino-chan. Shino-kun is probably the only other person in our graduating class who has come to the same conclusion. We're still learning, and you haven't done anything wrong. I didn't mean to make you feel bad, Ino-chan, Naruto said. He thought he was helping, but he was worried that he might have hurt instead. Yes, you did. I'm sorry I've been so childish about it. Could you stay for a little while and help me come up with a plan? Sure, Ino-chan, he said. The three of them would stay in Ino's room and give her feedback while she made plans. This went on for 20 minutes, until Naruto's eyes got a little blurry. After that, Inoichi ran into the room, his face red and his breath heavy. The man seemed very angry. Get out, you damn brat. Get out right now, yelled the head of the Yamanaka clan, but his wife cut him off. Inoichi, you should leave that sweetheart of a boy alone. Daddy. Why are you yelling at Naruto-kun? He's been here the whole time. He was in my bedroom with your mother. The Junin yelled. The two heiresses turned to look at Naruto, who didn't seem too bothered by what the Junin was saying. He thought his friends wanted an explanation, but he didn't mind because he'd only done what Inoichi-san asked of him. As Naruto reached the top of the stairs, he made a copy of himself out of shadow. Inoichi-san's wife wouldn't have to wait if she needed help. Naruto sent the clone in that direction because he thought Inoichi-san's room was at the other end of the hallway. He then went back to where he was going. The clone went the short distance to what was thought to be the bedroom and knocked on the door. The painful answer was, "Why yes. Hello, Yamanaka-san. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and Inoichi-san asked me to look into you." "Oh, then come in," she said, and Naruto did. The room was dark, and only a dimly lit lamp made it possible for Naruto to see the Yamanaka sitting on the bed and looking uncomfortable. Naruto didn't think twice about following the rules that Tsunade-sensei and Shizune-senpai had taught him. Like I said, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm a C-rank medical ninja right now. Can you tell me, Yamanaka-san, what seems to be bothering you? Amiko, dear. Hi. And what's bothering me is my back. This is so stupid. I was reaching down to pick something up and felt a sharp pain in my lower right side. It was agony for the first 2 days, but now it's just mind-numbing. I told Inoichi-kun I just needed a few days of rest, not a trained doctor or even one of Ino's cute friends, she said, winking at the last part. In response, Naruto smiled and then went on. How long ago did the first thing happen? 3 days ago. Do your legs ever go numb or shoot you with pain? Only if I stand for too long. I know it won't be comfortable, but could you roll onto your stomach so I can look at your back? Amiko took the covers off of her with Naruto's help, and she was wearing a floral print nightgown. She heard as she turned over, but she did it. Naruto used his diagnostic jutsu to confirm what he already thought. You've got a herniated disc in your lower back, Amiko-san. Oh, Can you do anything? Yes. It's not bad enough to need surgery, so it's within my skill set. One problem is that bed rest is good at first, but bad after a day or two. The muscles in your back have tightened and tense, making you stiff. This will make your recovery time longer. I can help with that, too, but you'd have to show me your back. And then I'll feel better when you're done. Hi. The only thing I would suggest is that you check in with another doctor tomorrow, as they may suggest more healing or physical therapy. Okay. Let's do it. Would you like a towel or sheet to cover your lower body? No, you won't need to do that. Naruto didn't say anything else as he gently lifted the back of Amiko's nightgown to show her cotton underwear and lower back. Naruto saw that she had 2 dimples above her buttocks, which he thought was a nice thing about her. He made a note to tell Haku he was sorry for doubting her when she said she didn't want to show her lower back. He also wondered, just for fun, if Ino-chan would get similar features as she aged, if she didn't already have them. None of these thoughts lasted long, and none of them kept Naruto from doing what he was supposed to do. He started treatment right away by using a healing jutsu. He didn't use the famous mystic palm technique, though, because he wasn't yet at the right level to learn it. But because his chakra was so strong and because Fuinjutsu gave him fine control over it, even simple healing jutsu worked faster for him than for most people. In just 10 minutes, the disc was fixed, and Naruto began giving her a therapeutic massage to relax her muscles. Naruto started by putting his hands on Amiko's lower back, then slowly moved them up the outside of her back and down each side of her spine.
He did this for a few minutes, until he felt like the muscle groups in her back were warm. Then, he focused on any tight spots or knots he could find and gently worked them out. Amiko's hums or coos of pleasure let him know he was on the right track. Amiko told Naruto to be a little stronger when he got to a particularly tough knot between her shoulder blades.
Yes, right there, Naruto-kun. Don't be shy, Inoichi heard as he walked into his bedroom. His wife then let out a "ah," as if something very satisfying had just happened. Inoichi's temper blew up when he saw a small blonde on top of his wife. What in the hell are you doing to my wife, boy? I'm going to see her because you asked me to, Naruto said in a neutral tone, a little confused by Inoichi's surprise. That made Inoichi even more angry, and he was about to yell at the blonde. Naruto remembered that Shizune Senpai had told him that family members would sometimes put off getting help because they were too emotional. He decided to stop the confusing clan leader from doing that. Inoichi didn't notice the paralysis and suppression seals forming in the room until they had already grabbed him. The part of him that was still able to look at things objectively was amazed that the boy could make seals appear with his feet. Every other part of him thought the little blonde jerk was cocky and full of himself. Naruto went back to his patient and asked her how much pain she was feeling. She said there was none. He asked her to stand up, which she did without any trouble. He told her again to find another medical ninja the next day, and then he broke the seals that were keeping Inoichi from moving. The man rushed to Ino's room right away, ready to choke that Uzumaki. Inoichi had to be calmed down by both Ino and Amiko, because the 2 Yamanaka women thought he was being crazy. This thought was only made stronger by the fact that Inoichi had asked Naruto to go help Amiko, which he did. As he led Naruto and Hinata out, he grudgingly said he was sorry for how he had acted. Then Naruto offered to walk Hinata home, and the Hyuga was happy to take him up on it. The two walked to the Hyuga compound in silence for most of the way until Hinata spoke as they turned onto the last street. Naruto-kun? Is that so, Hinata-chan? It was nice of you to heal Amiko-san, but you shouldn't do it for free. Hinata saw Naruto tilt his head to the side and think for a moment before he gave a small smile. In a way, she did pay me, he said. Hinata asked, as they got close to the main entrance to her compound. Oh, and what's your going rate? She let me look at her underwear. Hinata stopped right in front of her gate, where the Hyuga guards were standing and waving to her. At first, Naruto couldn't place the look on her face, but when it changed to one of resolve, he knew what it was. Well, if I ever need your medical skills, that could be a problem. Oh, why is that? Asked Naruto. Hinata didn't think twice before leaning in close to Naruto and whispering in his ear, because I don't wear any. She then turned on her heels and ran into her house. One of the guards asked the boy, Uzumaki-san, are you okay? He just stood there with his eyes half closed. Datbeo, was all he said before a swirl of leaves took him away. Haku could be heard making grunts of effort as she tried to do her job. She worked hard when she worked for Zabuza-sama, and she would do the same when she worked for Naruto-kun. It was why she was here, wearing a dark blue kimono over a mesh shirt, open-toed heels like Tsunade's, and a new headband to keep her jet black hair back. For you, Naruto-kun, today is a light day. After training with Sakura-san, you have a few hours to kill before your first meeting. Haku heard Sakura say, as a shadow clone kicked her in the stomach. The construction crew? Naruto asked, as if his teammates' grunt of pain didn't bother him. Hello. This is the construction crew. As a reminder, this is them pitching you, so they will do most of the talking. I did leave a note card with some questions you might want to ask them on your desk, though. Speaking of which, have you thought about renting an office space? With everything you do, working out of your apartment may become impossible. I plan to have one built along with a ceiling chamber when I fix up the building. That makes sense. The meeting shouldn't take more than an hour. After that, Shizune-san has asked you to go to the hospital in person instead of sending your usual clones. I made sure to ask. Did she go into detail? No, but she said it shouldn't get in the way of anything else you need to do today. Okay. What else? Your last meeting is at 1, but you still have time to cancel. Haku tried to warn, but he was cut off, which was out of character. Haku, he has had a chance to tell me the truth. I get it, Naruto-kun, but I think you might be going too far with this. No one is getting hurt by what I'm doing, so he can't make the same claim. To your knowledge, but you don't know that, for either claim. That's true, but I'll keep going. Haku sighed, but then said, after that, you have the rest of the day to train. I'll start your Senbon training at 2, and Sai-san will be free at 4. Anything else? Some of your clones will disappear at 3, others at 6, and the last one at 9. Okay. Are you free tonight for dinner? Haku said with a smile. Chappie and I will be there at 8. Sakura yelled, Arg, damn it, Naruto. As she got up from the ground and walked over to her teammate. The shadow clone went away, and Naruto remembered what she did on stage. Sakura-san. What's the matter? The problem is that I'm here to train with you, not some freaking clone. Also, what's your problem with me? Why was that thing being so hard on me today? You kept leaving the same hole in your stance. I've told you before, but you haven't fixed it, so I thought a direct consequence might help. Better me than an enemy, and since I won't be on your next mission, this is the best I can do to protect you, Sakura-san. At first, his words made Sakura angry, but she quickly calmed down. He didn't do anything wrong, and it was nice that he was trying to help her get better. But it still hurts. Can you do anything to make it stop hurting? Sure. Come on, Haku said. I think that would be a mistake, Naruto-kun. Both Naruto and Sakura looked at her, Naruto with a neutral face and Sakura with an annoyed one. For your lesson to really sink in, she has to live with the result. If you take away the pain, you take away the lesson. Sakura got a checkmark, but Naruto turned his head to the side as he thought about what she said. Haku seemed to have a good point, and Naruto didn't want Sakura-san to go backwards because he was too kind. Naruto spoke with a firm nod. I agree with Haku, Sakura-san. My clone held back, so even though it hurts, you aren't hurt and can keep doing your job. What? Naruto, come heal me right now. Sakura-san, I suggest you lower your voice and never raise it to Naruto-kun in my presence again, Haku said with a warm smile, but Sakura could see a threatening look in her eyes. Part of her wanted to agree, but another part of her wanted to say no and dare the older girl to do something about it. Before she could, though, a fast-moving cloud of dust and 2 loud shouts stopped the 3 of them. Ute filled the surrounding area as 2 green blurs and the resulting dust stopped right in front of Naruto and Haku. Guy said to the younger ninja, Yosh, Naruto-kun, you're so young. Good morning to you, too. Good morning, Guy-sensei. Morning, Maeda-san. Lee noticed that Sakura was still quiet, as if she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Hello. You must be the lovely Sakura-chan. My name is Rock Lee, Konoha's beautiful green wild beast, Lee said. Would you like to hang out with me? I'll protect you with my life. This is way too much, way too early. I'm sorry, Lee-san, but I'm interested in someone else. Lee looked down for a moment before his eyes lit up with determination. Naruto-kun has clearly taken the lead for your heart, and while that may never change, I look forward to showing you my worth, Yosh. Sakura screamed, and no, it's not Naruto, and shook with anger. Guy decided to leave the Pinkettes before they broke up. Naruto-kun, I know you're not training with my rival this week because Tenten-chan is filling in for you. Would you like to hang out with us for the day? Guy asked, putting on his nice guy face. I have plans for the rest of the day, but I'm free right now. Did you hear that, Lee-kun? We'll raise your flames of youth and Naruto-kun's, too. Let's start with a spirited run to our training grounds and go from there. I'm so excited, Guy-sensei. I'm bursting with the power of youth. How about you, Naruto-kun? Lee asked, striking his own nice guy pose. No, I don't think there will be a fire anytime soon. Lee dipped his head briefly before raising it again with a blinding smile. This must be the cool attitude you often talk about, Guy-sensei. If I hadn't already chosen one, Naruto-kun, I would accept you as my lifelong rival, because coolness can't beat the fires of youth. Good idea, Lee-kun. Let's run like the wind, Yosh. Guy and Lee ran off, and Naruto quickly caught up to the taijutsu users. Haku smiled at the strange exchange, but Sakura was still confused until she remembered what Haku had said before they left. Sakura asked, Haku-san, do you have a problem with me? Yes, she quickly replied. Naruto-kun was only trying to help you, but you treat him like he did you wrong. He may not take offense, but I do on his behalf. Find a different way to get rid of your anger instead of picking on someone who won't fight back. That's not what I do. Yes, you do, and you did it in Nami, but you can't do it anymore. What does this have to do with you? He's on my team, and if he has a problem, he can tell me. I work for him and, more importantly, I'm his friend, so please find a better way to vent your anger. Yeah, but what if I take them out on you? Sakura asked in annoyance, only to hear a soft laugh.
Haku told Sakura-san, you fight like a pillow fist gorilla. You're years away from being a threat to me, and then he used a shunshin to leave the training ground. Sakura could only gape at the older girl's last words. Soon, Sakura got very angry, and in response, she was rude to the training post that was close by. She would stay there until it was time for her team to meet.
Inara stared intently at Yamanaka. Yoshino thought she had heard Ino's request wrong. Since it was still pretty early, she might not have been fully awake. She was also shocked that Ino had come to this place at this time. That would explain it. She just didn't understand what Ino had said. There was no way that Emiko's daughter would ask her to give her child drugs. No way. Yoshino said to the heiress, Ino-chan, I'm not sure I understand you. The heiress huffed. Shikamaru hadn't even woken up yet when Ino came by early to talk to Yoshino. Even though it was strange, it wasn't too strange because their families had been close for generations and Yoshino was like Ino's aunt. I want you to put this in Shikamaru's drink tomorrow night, she said, holding up a vial of clear liquid. It's a stimulant, like really strong caffeine, but that's all it is. And this is a job for training. Yes, Yoshino Obakan. I have to be honest. We're the worst team in our graduating class. I'm trying to get Asuma-sensei to train us harder, but I have to finish this exercise first. Who can beat both Choji and Shikamaru at the same time in a fight? Yes, ma'am, but I can't do that standing up the way I am. Yoshino asked. So, you'll cheat? Technically, no. This isn't against the rules we set. I'm just using every advantage I can to make sure my mission is a success, Ino said, and the Nara matriarch nodded in agreement. Yoshino thought about what Ino said. She wasn't too worried about being the strongest team, but she did want them to be strong and solid. It wouldn't hurt for Asuma to be stricter, and Shikamaru would stop thinking that he only needs to focus on his intelligence. She didn't want to give drugs to her own child, but he was no longer a child. Yoshino didn't see any reason to get in the way of Ino's career growth if she was getting this serious about it. Yoshino said, I'll do it if you tell me exactly what the substance is and how you got it. Ino agreed, and Yoshino said, that's fine. After coming up with ideas with Hinata-chan and Naruto-kun, she spent most of the night separating the substance. She even had notes and paperwork ready to give Yoshino if he had asked for them. Ino smiled. Of the two mothers she had to talk to, Yoshino was going to be the harder one to convince. She was beginning to think that maybe she could pull this off. Guy watched as Lee said goodbye and Naruto left the training ground. It was a good workout because he made both boys drop their weights and resistance bands and come at him. He was happy to see that Naruto was getting better at the basic taijutsu style that Guy had helped him learn. But Guy couldn't get rid of his feeling of guilt. He had heard from his rival that Naruto was getting better at taijutsu and was now Team 7's best fighter. Guy came up with a plan to get Naruto to train with Lee and to make it so that the young Uzumaki wouldn't hold back. Lee was a humble boy, but his one-sided focus on Neji made him seem cocky because he only compared himself to his chosen rival and didn't see the other challenges around him. It worked, and Lee saw that there was someone his age who was as fast and strong as he was. He didn't like using the blonde in this way, but he hoped that the chance to fight an elite Junin at least made up for his time. Guy was trying to get rid of his guilt while Naruto was on his way back to his apartment. Before his meetings, he needed to take a shower and send a few clones to the archives. He liked the strange pair of animals and wondered if Sai would mind if Lee sometimes joined them. He wasn't surprised that Lee was so fast because he didn't know how good the boy was. However, knowing that there was someone else who could run as fast as him made him work out harder. He liked that he could see how many of the basic strikes and stances of the Guken style were done. He had improved his memory recall seal, so it wouldn't be too hard to project the fight and use parts of the style, even if it was more rigid than his nascent style. Before he left Team 9's training grounds, he ran into Neji, who asked him, "What are you doing here, Uzumaki?" with a very angry face.
Naruto just looked at Neji for a few seconds before saying, "Leaving." He then kept walking away, wondering how the so-called prodigy couldn't see something so obvious. Neji took the answer as an insult, which made him even more angry. "You should know how to talk to people who are better than you," the Hyuga said. Naruto looked at him and thought about what he had said. He was right, because Oji-san had stressed the importance of being polite, which he then taught Kono-chan. But the way Neji said, "betters," confused him. Naruto hadn't heard of an objective ranking system, but he thought he should at least give Neji credit for trying to give him good advice.
"If I find some, I will," he said, and kept going. Neji's mood got worse after the second time he was kicked off the team, and the shouts from his coach and teammate didn't help. He swore that he would teach the blonde a lesson one day, if only to take away Hinata's support. Fate made sure of it. Naruto didn't pay any more attention to the angry Hyuga and quickly went back to his apartment. Before the first bid for his redevelopment project, he had about an hour and a half to take a shower, change clothes, and eat. Even though Naruto could, in theory, just tell his clones to do the work once they figured out how, it wouldn't be good for his business to have no employees or contractors on the books. The blonde Uzumaki was glad to hear about the changes. Even though most of the apartments wouldn't change, Naruto would add some features to make them more appealing to renters. He wanted a small grocery store and a laundry service on the ground floor. Behind his building, he was going to make a small training area and a safe hot spring. There were some other ideas, but he mostly wanted to be able to add or expand as he pleased, so the new buildings would be added to the apartment complex that was already there. All apartments would be entered from the outside, but there would be a fuinjutsu-enabled way to get to the amenities that only residents could use. This would keep those amenities safe and private. Naruto also planned to add sub-basements to the building with Dodenjutsu and Fuinjutsu, but only a few people would know about them. He had a plan that, if it worked, would take his training to the next level, but he didn't want anyone to know about it. His Oji-san told him that not every change had to be told to the village. This would be for him and the people Haku said were very important to him. The Uzumaki was so busy with Anko's seal, learning medicine, battle Fuinjutsu, and other training areas that he had stopped working on his main goal, the information systems. Even though his short-range communication seal worked, he wanted something better that could handle audio, video, and text. He had tried, but the images were just blurs, which he didn't like. The problem was how to send the information, and one of his clones came up with the idea that the data needed to be broken up into smaller packets and then put back together quickly once it was received. Since Naruto had spent a lot more time with his mother's barrier information, it wasn't hard for him to make the theoretical framework, but it was hard to come up with a new coding language. The last problem was how to send the message, which required a space-time method. Naruto knew that in order to reach his goal, he had to finally start to learn the Hiraishin, which was his father's most famous jutsu. He also had to be better than his father because the Hiraishin was a ninjutsu that used Fuinjutsu to help it work, and Naruto needed a Fuinjutsu-only method of instant transmission. As he got out of the shower, the Uzumaki hummed. He had a lot to do, and even with his clones, he often felt like he was getting close to being able to do too much at once. He was done getting ready for his next mission, but he still had to make some things for his team. Even though he wasn't going to be there, that didn't mean he couldn't help, and since his replacement, Tenten-san, was said to be very good at shuriken jutsu, he knew just what to give her. He did his hygiene routines, dried off, and changed into a black V-neck, long-sleeve shirt over a mesh shirt, black pants, and sandals. Even though it wasn't what a shinobi usually wore, Hitaki-sensei and his Oji-san both told him to change since it was for business. A clone had made omurice with miso soup, and he sat down at his table. The Uzumaki ate in peace, enjoying the short break from doing anything. With a small smile on her face, Kurenai looked over at her team. The team had just finished one of the training games they do often, hide and seek. 2 people would look for one party, but none of the genin could use the skills that made their clans famous. Kiba couldn't just turn off his sense of smell, so Kurenai had to put a special salve under his nose. As she thought, they had had trouble at first, but they had gotten better as time went on, both during and after the exercise. Kiba had to learn to be more aware and thoughtful, traits that were slowly spreading to other parts of the Inuzuka's life. Even though he was getting smarter, he would still probably just charge ahead. Shino was learning to see his surroundings and the people in them as things he could engage with and interact with, not just things he could observe and judge. In turn, he talked more with his teammates about things that had nothing to do with being a shinobi, and his teammates were more than happy to talk back. Hinata also had trouble at first, but she learned to use more than just her eyes and became more and more sure of herself. Kurenai couldn't be happier with how her team is doing. Even though they didn't focus on fighting like Team 7, they were strong enough to not get caught like other teams that focused on tracking. They also learned to use their ninja skills in different ways. She was even ready to start teaching them genjutsu, in addition to teaching them how to find and break them, which she did early on. Even though none of them may be experts, they would all be able to do something in the illusion arts. Kurenai couldn't concentrate because a hawk was flying around the team, which meant they were being called to the Hokage Tower. She didn't wait long to get the attention of the genin and led them to the tower. If they were called, it was probably a C rank that had to be done quickly. When she took them out of the village, there was always a hint of worry, but she put it down to the natural worry a teacher has for her students. She was also sure they could handle themselves. They were good on their own, but even better when they worked together. The mission was to find and save the person, if they were still alive, or confirm that they were dead, if they were not. The mountainous area they were going to take 2 days to reach, so Kurenai gave her team an hour to pack and report to the main gate. When Team 8 left the Hokage Tower, they went their separate ways to prepare for their missions. Taking into account the weather in the mountains, Kurenai decided to wear the standard Junin outfit. She decided to trade with Uzumaki-kun in order to get some of his temperature control seals. Hinata already had them as part of her mission clothes, so it was silly of her not to get some more. Shino and Kiba could both benefit from it, so she might buy him for the team, but she'd have to think about what would be a fair trade for his services. As she finished packing, she thought, maybe some genjutsu lessons and even a jutsu. Kurenai left after having a light lunch and double-checking her gear. She arrived at the same time as the rest of her team. She gave a quick smile because it wasn't too early or too late. She told them briefly how long she thought their trip would take, and then Team 8 left after officially checking out.
She realized that moving around would be the key to her success.
Any traps she set up had to make her teammates move, keep them off balance, and keep them guessing. Shikamaru probably couldn't move and use his shadow possession at the same time, and he also didn't have the best stamina. He also didn't come up with the best plans when he was behind or when things were out of his hands. Choji was different because he was always moving. She would use the fact that he was like a tank to hurt him, and without Shikamaru to lead him, the boy would lose faith in himself. Ino realized that she would have to work with Choji on that. He shouldn't use Shikamaru as a crutch, but that would have to wait. The Yamanaka heiress was in her team's training grounds because she was making plans for her battle. She wanted to see the area with fresh eyes and get a real sense of it. She wouldn't set up any of the traps until tomorrow night, just in case, but it was good to have a working plan now. After getting Choji's mom to agree, Ino didn't feel as sure of herself as she did when she left Yoshino. Now, it started to feel real. She had a short moment of doubt when she wondered if she could really do this on her own, without her surrogate aunt's help. Ino shook off those dark thoughts right away. She knew that many people thought of her as a shallow fangirl heiress who would rather gossip than train. Even though some of those things were true, she really liked Sasuke and told everyone about it. She wasn't a fool. She has been the one to ask for more training and push herself to the limit. She is the one trying to get better at more than one thing. She must have won. People wouldn't think differently of her because of this one win, but she could start with Asuma Sensei. She could show that she wasn't just pretending to be a ninja. She didn't know what to do next, but she had people who could help her figure it out. Yamanaka just knew that she would only settle for her best and push her teammates to do the same. Two blondes watched a team work from the observation deck of a surgical suite. From above, it looked like a well-choreographed dance, but people had to make decisions in a split second, and if someone made a mistake, there could be serious consequences. Tsunade, on the other hand, didn't care. She did a good job of teaching Shizune, and she had complete faith in her longtime student. Her obvious discomfort was only caused by the last traces of her fear. Watching surgeries was supposed to be her therapy, a way for her to face the symbol of her deeper problems in a safe way. Naruto didn't know that Tsunade was afraid of blood, and she never told him. He also never asked her why she wasn't doing surgeries. He was, however, a very observant boy, and even though he didn't understand much, he could tell when Tsunade was uncomfortable by the way her shoulders moved. Naruto reached out and took her hand. He did this because he remembered some advice he had read in a book. He didn't see the small smile she gave him because he had turned his attention back to the surgery. Being a combat medic is like fighting a war on all fronts. Time is against you, your conditions aren't sterile, and you often have enemies to worry about. Do you have enough supplies? Are you rested enough? Focused enough? Is there enough light to see? What if you have multiple patients? Who gets how much time? The development and refinement of medical ninjutsu has helped. The fewer surgeries we have to actually cut people open the better, but why? Honestly, this is going to sound cocky as hell, but it's because I stopped making them. Doctors know more, but there aren't many new treatments or jutsu. If I hadn't left and died, who would have kept pushing the field forward? This is why I'm glad Sensei called me back. He was right, Naruto. I think we can make another step forward in the medical field and maybe inspire other people to stop hiding in my shadow. Your security measures will soon be in full effect. We don't have many genin on staff, so their background checks will be done soon, and I've been impressed with your pharmacology studies. Now, I want you to move on to actual treatment seals. After you return from your next mission, I want to start your surgical rotation in earnest, which means you'll need to be here in person until I say otherwise. At first, everyone agreed that the clones would change so that Tsunade's new student wouldn't get too much attention. It just looked like she was trying out a pilot program. It was also Hiruzen's idea to keep Naruto away from staff or even patients who might be biased against him. Tsunade thought that people should either deal with him being there or get the hell out, but in the end, she did what her sensei asked. But if he wanted to see more and more patients, he needed to build trust, so he had to stop lying. Okay, Naruto said in reply. He didn't really care if there was henge or not. Good. As I was saying, unclean environments and live combat zones are some of the most persistent problems. Do you think you could come up with some kind of medical room barrier? Tsunade asked Naruto as he lightly rubbed his chin. Barriers, whether they were made with ninjutsu or fuinjutsu, took a lot of chakra. The more the barrier had to do, the more chakra it took to keep it up. That was just the way art worked. One that could protect, hide, Naruto's idea, because if the enemy can't see you, they're less likely to attack you, and clean the area and keep it clean would be expensive, but they thought it was possible. Hey, before you go too far down that rabbit hole, I want to stop you, Tsunade said, laughing as Naruto made a small pout. Another idea I want you to think about is some kind of stasis, since operating in the field isn't always possible. I've tried to make a jutsu to do this but haven't been successful because I couldn't localize the effects. Those are the next 2 projects I want you to work on, and I'll get you whatever resources you need. Any questions? How much longer do I have? There's no schedule, but the sooner the better, of course. Do you have any more questions? No. Okay. One last question. Did you help Amiko Yamanaka last night, and did you hold Inoichi back while you did it? Yes to both, Naruto said, and he saw Tsunade laugh again. Naruto told her, "You have a nice laugh, sensei," and she did. It wasn't as cute as Hinata's giggle, but it had a nice melody to it. Tsunade ignored the compliment because she knew he was sincere and there was nothing else to it. Well, you did the right thing. Once you accept someone as a patient, don't let anything stop you from giving them the care they need, but you didn't win any points with Inoichi, so keep an eye on that. I did what he asked, so I don't understand his hostility, Naruto said, tilting his head. He didn't understand Ino-chan's dad. Tsunade sighed. He didn't want to be the one to bring up this subject, but it was clear that Sensei hadn't. Naruto, Inoichi doesn't dislike you because of anything you've done. He doesn't like you because you're a boy and his daughter likes you. He thinks you want to have sex with her, and it's his job to keep you from doing that. I told her I wanted to have sex with her, and I don't see why that's his problem. Tsunade was a little surprised by the boy's bold admission, but she quickly got over it. Why that bothers him is a very long, complicated, and frankly sexist discussion, she said. What's important here is that Inoichi doesn't dislike Naruto Uzumaki. He dislikes Ino's male friend. Naruto tilted his head the other way. If things were different, Tsunade might find it cute. So, any boy who might be interested in Ino-chan in the same way would get the same response? Yes, and you admitting that you want to have sex with her didn't help matters. I didn't know that wasn't a good idea until Hinata-chan told me, so I stopped doing it. Well, I guess that's progress, but you shouldn't be friends with girls just to have sex with them, Tsunade told him, realizing it would be hard to be a sensei to a boy. No, I'm not. I didn't know Ino-chan and I were friends until after I offered to have sex with her. I'll still be her friend even if she doesn't. Same with Hinata-chan. I wouldn't stop learning from you and Shizune-senpai just because you didn't want to have sex with me. That would be weird, Naruto said as if he were stating the obvious. Tsunade changed her last thought. It wouldn't be hard, but it would be very hard. I don't know what to say to that, so you can go. Take Taunton with you, she needs some exercise, Tsunade said, really needing a drink right now. She also thought that Naruto shouldn't spend too much time with Jiraiya because the world didn't need another brave pervert. Jiraiya was getting ready to go to sleep. He had just talked to an important contact who didn't have much useful information. That was annoying, but the contact's questions about Naruto were what put the Toad Sage on edge and made him wonder if he should just give up. He would have to talk to Sensei about it when he got back. He had to talk to his godson as well. He dragged his feet on Anko's cursed seal, and he knew that Naruto was getting angry with him because he wasn't helping. He should just tell the boy why he felt that way and hope that the boy will listen. The kid seemed reasonable, but adolescent irrationality often comes out at the worst times, even in prodigies. But to wait any longer would put his relationship at risk, and he couldn't let that happen. The big man sighed as he kicked off his geta and got into bed. He was a little surprised when a messenger toad showed up with a letter from Naruto. The Gaki had never gotten in touch with him this way before, but he was glad Naruto was getting to know all the toads. He opened the scroll and quickly read what was inside before opening a storage seal at the bottom to get some documents out. He took a look at the toad. Then he went back to the scroll. The toad did it again, and this time he said, "What the fuck is this?" Given what the message said, Jiraiya's surprise was understandable. What his godson had done shocked him. He was going to wring that brat's neck and yell at Sensei for letting him grow up like that. Jiraiya looked over the scroll one more time to make sure he wasn't going crazy. Jiraiya, my requests for help haven't been answered, and I haven't been told why. I bought your publishing house to try to get you to agree with me. The copies of the sales agreement and other official documents are stored in the seal at the bottom. Until you give me the help I need to help Mitarashi Anko-chan or explain fully why you haven't, no new copies of the existing Icha books will be printed, and all future editions will be put away. If you try to break your contract, which I now own, I will sue you in the courts of Fire Country. I await your response. Uzumaki Naruto 4 Junin were sitting in a dark bar. One looks tired, one looks bored, one looks excited, and the last one looks very young. The 4 famous Junin sensei were all waiting for the guest of honor, but since he was late, they started the party early. Everyone could see that Asuma looked tired. Well, he looked tired and upset, as if the last few days had been hard. Guy said something first. Your fire of youth needs to be rekindled, Asuma. Asuma was annoyed by Guy's loud voice, but she couldn't deny what she said. He didn't feel even a little bit young. I'll be fine, but if anyone wants to trade Kunoichi, I'd be happy to think about it. Asuma's words made Kurenai frown because Hinata had told him a little bit about Ino. She thought that the Yamanaka heiress had been putting more effort into her training and job. She didn't get to say it because Kakashi said it first. What did Ino do? Naruto talks a lot about her, but she doesn't seem like a bad person. 5 days ago, I would have agreed with you. She was just an eager genin who wanted to learn new things and train to be better than the girls her age. What changed to make that happen? Well, the Sarutobi was surprised to see Ino there so early. She looked calm and ready, but way too calm. He put it down to youthful overconfidence and didn't think much more about it. The two stood in silence after a brief greeting. Minutes passed and the boys were almost late. Asuma bit on an unlit cigarette as he watched Choji and Shikamaru arrive. Okay, this is a friendly fight, So don't kill or hurt each other. Anything else is fair game. Any questions? All of his students shake their heads no, so he tells them, then you can start. Shikamaru said, we quit, which stopped Ino in her tracks. What do you mean you quit? Asuma yelled at his shinobi, you haven't done anything yet. He was very upset with his shinobi. I don't know how she did it, but Ino made us sick. I can hardly think, and Choji is already yawning heavily. Shika said, this is too hard, and then flopped down on the ground with no grace. Choji did the same right after him. Asuma listened to Shikamaru's words, but he didn't fully understand them. He knew what each word meant on its own, but when they were all put together, he thought, Ino didn't really poison her teammates to win a bet, did she? He looked at his only Kunoichi, who was smiling widely. I did it, Asuma-sensei. Even the secret lesson made sense to me. Secret lesson? He asked with an eyebrow raised. Yay. You wanted me to treat this like an assassination mission, so I had Shika's mom poison her and Choji's mom poison them both, and I got information I could use to blackmail Choji. Choji grimaced, but he didn't have the energy to argue. He'd have to live in fear from now on. Asuma said, good job, Ino. She nodded. Asuma was in the process of re-evaluating the Yamanaka. She wasn't afraid of hard work, but her reasons were often immature. He assumed her desire to learn his signature weapon was for similar reasons. Asuma would talk to Ino for the next hour while she took down all of her unused traps, which included things like tripwires that set off all kinds of projectiles and explosives and flash bangs. When she was done, he showed her some basic moves with his knuckle knives, which were too big for her small hands, but he promised to have her measured for her own pair. Did she really poison her team the night before a fight? Kurenai asked in mild disbelief. Yep. To bet and win. She kept on. Asuma corrected, to finish a mission. She really dug deep into that one, she said. I wonder who could have told her that, Asuma thought as she gave Kakashi a pointed look. Asuma, I've never talked to Ino in my whole life. Oh, not you. That stupid blonde kid of yours. Ma. Kakashi said with a smile, you'll see, Asuma, that Naruto-kun is not a brat. He is the chosen one. The one who was picked for what? Kurenai asked, but Kakashi just waved her off, and Guy spoke up before she could ask again. Ino's flames of youth burned brightly. Guy, take it down a notch or 12, Kakashi told him. Sorry, yeah, well. Because of him, I have to watch what I say because I'm afraid that Ino will figure out something I'm not saying. It's all so hard to deal with. You sound just like your Nara, said Kurenai. Well, what can I say? The kid is right. You just came back, Kurenai. How did your mission go? Dreadful. Sounds like there's a story there, Kakashi said as he saw the Genjutsu mistress frown. 3 brothers and sisters tried to kill each other to get their share of the inheritance, but they failed and were left on their own. We walk them back to their house, where a 4th sibling, who is actually our client, kills the 3 murderous siblings by accident with a crossbow. In his pain, the last brother or sister kills himself, and the town is happy because that money will now go to the public coffers. Shino actually laughed at how silly it was, which was the scariest thing of all. Asuma said, damn, but couldn't say more because the guest of honor had finally arrived. Anko Mitarashi didn't wear her usual clothes when she went into the bar. Instead, she wore a black cocktail dress with spaghetti straps that stopped just above her knees and heels that matched. Her hair was actually down, and the torture expert was smiling widely. You guys are going ahead without me? She asked herself as she sat down. Not really, but it is typical of Kakashi to invite us out and then show up late, Asuma said. Sorry, I was late, but now I'm here, so let's party, she exclaimed as she saw Kakashi flash through several hand signs and flare his chakra, making a simple privacy barrier appear. Now we can party without anyone listening in on us, right? Said the copy ninja. Yosh. We must let our young flames burn brightly so that Anko can be free of that dangerous snake. Guy yelled, which made everyone in the room wince. He's right, but he's so loud. Kurenai said, here's to Anko, who is finally free of that cursed seal, and everyone drank to their friend. So, Anko, how did you manage to do so much at such a young age? Did Jiraiya-sama make some progress? I think you know, Guy, that Jiraiya-sama didn't take this away from me. Anko said, it was Kakashi's brat. She saw Kurenai and Guy smile, one with love and the other with respect. Kakashi didn't show it, but she knew he was proud. She was surprised to see Asuma frown at first, then cover it up. Are you going to finally tell me what happened? Kurenai asked. She knew Anko was free of the seal, but the special Junin hadn't given her any details because he wanted to save them for when she went out. Sure. But keep in mind that I know about as much about Fuinjutsu as Kakashi knows about how to behave. Anko-chan. I know exactly what you mean, but I don't care. Okay. So that's how it went down. Anko was called to the Hokage's office, but she didn't know why. She didn't like having her interrogations interrupted, but when the old man called, you answered, no questions asked. She didn't expect to see 2 of the 3 Sannin, 2/3 of the Elders' Council, and the Fuinjutsu Chibi there. The atmosphere was tense, but no one showed it on their faces. Anko bowed and said, Hokage-sama, in a neutral way. Thank you, Anko-chan, for coming so quickly. Hiruzen said with a kind smile, I asked you to come here to tell you that we are now able and ready to take off your seal. Anko smiled a little but didn't do anything else to show how happy she was. When can you take it off, Hokage? Now, a voice that sounded much younger said. Now? She asked in surprise, but the blonde never took his eyes off the Hokage, so she looked back at the village leader and saw him nod. Well, it's working now. Does she need anything, Naruto-kun? To go home and take a shower. Getting rid of the skin's natural oils helps the ink stick to the skin. Also, a list of the foods and drinks they like best. When you're ready, just go back to the place where I first looked at your seal. Gaki, are you sure you can do this? I will not fail, Naruto said, his eyes never leaving hers. She nodded and left, glad for the run home to help get rid of the giddiness she was feeling. Hey, what is Tsunade-sama doing here, and where is Jiraiya-sama? We know for sure how the seal will react, but we don't know how your body will. I'm here to make sure that any problems that come up can be fixed right away. About Jiraiya. We don't need him. I showed him and 2 other skilled seal users how to use my designs, and they all gave me the go-ahead to use them. Anko-chan, would you like me to show you how to do it? Yay, sure. There will be 3 layers in the main array. The first is to get rid of the independent consciousness by sending it to a pocket dimension where it will be destroyed. The second will take the energy from the seal and put it into a separate storage seal. Last, all the other parts will be taken apart, and the seal will be broken. Anko paid close attention to what Naruto said and nodded along, but then she thought, you said the main array. Are there more? Yes. I will add a part of a chakra's blood circulation system to yours. It will be how the seals for the errant consciousness and the unstable energy are broken. I have also made seals that will make your body stay still and calm. The more still you are, the easier this will be, because your chakra flow will be calmer. Last but not least, Tsunade-sensei will put you to sleep with medical ninjutsu. If you need to wake up right away, I have a seal for that. Okay. That's quite a bit. How did you pull it off? We were told about a substance that can make a special kind of chakra ink. This ink will let us open the seal in a controlled way and eventually break it, Tsunade said. Anko nodded at the blonde girl again and asked, what do I have to do? Naruto said, take off your clothes so I can paint the seal, and then he left the room. Why did he leave if he was going to see everything anyway? Anko asked, and the slug Sannin shook his head. In a hospital, it's pretty common to give your patients some privacy. Getting naked in front of someone can feel very different from being naked. Oh, he called you sensei. Yes, for now he is my student, she said. Kid is going to give me a complex, I really need to step up my training, Anko said as she took off the last of her clothes. She was talented, which is why Orochimaru was interested in her, but the blonde was on a whole other level. When Anko woke up, it had been 5 hours, and her senses came back in order. First, she felt, and it wasn't what she expected. She felt warm, intoxicatingly warm, and heavy, but both were pleasant. She thought she could just curl up and sleep forever, but her sense of smell came back, and the smell of dango called to her. Not even the promise of endless sleep could compete with the seductress known as dango. Welcome back, Anko, Tsunade said. Did it work? Anko asked. Since she was still alive, the seals couldn't have failed completely, but that didn't mean she was free, and she couldn't check herself because her chakra was too chaotic. Yes. The cursed seal was broken by Naruto. Anko didn't want to cry, even though she was happy. She'd shed too many tears over her sensei and swore she'd never do it again, not even when their last connection was broken. She was free. Her life was hers again. Gaki, where are you? I told him to go home. To get rid of the natural energy in your body, your chakra had to be close to being in balance. But your reserves weren't big enough for that, so Naruto had to give you some of his. Even though he had a seal ready to help him, it was very hard for him to safely give someone raw chakra. After the cursed seal was broken, he was exhausted and needed to sleep. I can't believe he did all of this for me, said Anko. Anko was confused for a moment by Tsunade's laugh. I know it may not be obvious, but if you really get to know him, you'll find that he's a very caring young man, he said. He just doesn't say it the way most people would. He makes me think of my great uncle a lot. I'm sorry, Tsunade-sama, but I've always heard that Naidame-sama didn't feel anything. Oh, he might look like. But when I was little, he would also give me sweets behind Mito-ba-sama's back. People like that, what they do shows how much they care. Why would he be interested in me? Before Jiraiya-sama had him check my seal, we had only met once, and it was more confusing than anything else. It's up to you to ask him. Now, what else is there? Yes. Why do I feel so hot and sort of heavy? How does a jutsu work? Tsunade snorted. Yay, Fuinjutsu. It's the blanket. It's heavy and has seals to keep you warm. He told her, if you like it, you can keep it. Yes, I do. Consider yourself lucky. I'm still waiting on mine, and I'm his flipping sensei, Tsunade said with irritation. I did let him see my tits, Tsunade-sama. Tsunade got a tick mark and wondered if the little pervert had moved Anko to the front of the line because of that. And for the past few days, I've just been taking it easy. But it's gone for good. Anko said, that sick fuck was beaten by a 12-year-old, which makes me smile every time I think about it, which made Guy cry manly tears of youth. Kakashi sat there, listening carefully, and realized that Anko didn't know the whole story. If she did, he wondered how she'd feel about Naruto blackmailing a Sannin for her. Jiraiya, he remembered, wasn't at all amused by his godson's plan, nor was he amused by the immediate response when confronted. Where is Kushina's little boy? Jiraiya barked at Kakashi, which confused the copy ninja. Jiraiya looked really angry, and the fact that he called Naruto Kushina's and not Minato's was a sign that his favorite student did something. I don't think I can in good conscience lead you to my most valuable student like this, Kakashi said, and Jiraiya's face tightened. The kid is threatening Icha, Kakashi. This is serious. And Jiraiya was right, this was serious. How could Kushina's son do that? How had he done it? Kakashi didn't care. He just needed to find Naruto and make things right, maybe punish this terrible act. Kuchiyose no jutsu, Kakashi said, slapping his hand to the ground. Without ceremony, his entire Ninkenpack was there, waiting for orders and not threatening his Icha. Find Naruto, and when you do, have one of you tell me, Kakashi told his summons. Don't worry, Jiraiya-sama, we'll make this right. Don't worry about me. Jiraiya replied, I'm going to wring his little neck, and made several more threats. 5 minutes later, Bull came back, ready to lead Kakashi to the betrayer. They moved quickly toward Naruto, arriving after a short commute and watched as Kakashi's summons turned on him. The bad dogs were lying on their backs, getting belly rubs from shadow clones as, he thought, the real Naruto spoke to Sai. Hitaki-sensei, he greeted. Don't Hitaki-sensei me, Naruto. Why did you say you would hurt the Icha? Tell the truth, and your punishment will be light. Naruto squinted and tilted his head until he saw Jiraiya coming toward him and realized Jiraiya had snitched. I need Jiraiya to do something he doesn't want to do, so I found a way to force him to do it. How much leverage? Kakashi asked, just starting to realize that he didn't know how Naruto was threatening the Icha. I bought the company that makes and sells the book series. I won't let any new editions come out or reprints of old ones until I get what I need. Now, that threw Kakashi for a loop. It was pretty impressive, and in almost any other situation, he'd buy the kid a present for being a pretty good shinobi. But his most prized pawn was on the line, and he didn't know what to do. He needed more information. Naruto, what do you want so badly from Jiraiya that you would go this far? Those who don't follow the rules are trash, but those who leave their friends behind are worse than trash. Hitaki-sensei, Jiraiya was making me feel like trash. This threw Kakashi for another loop, or maybe an extra loop, because Naruto wouldn't joke about those words or use them without thinking. Kakashi wasn't sure if Naruto could use any words without thinking, but he was sure he wouldn't use those words without thinking. Kakashi dropped Naruto and let the Uzumaki walk past him. Jiraiya of the Sannin, have you come here to help? Naruto asked, and everyone in the room could hear a hint of regret in his voice. I don't give in to blackmail, Naruto, even if the cause is good. You should have just waited and put your faith in me. I don't, Naruto said in response. Excuse me? I don't trust you. Why did you, and you don't trust me? Naruto said as he looked at Jiraiya's face, which had a strange look on it. Do you agree with that? I don't trust you. Yes. Jiraiya looked confused and started to speak, but stopped before he could say anything. The Toad Sage sighed, realizing that by not doing anything, he might have turned off his godson. Toads have a special oil that moves natural energy. I know how to use it to make ink. And you've known all along? Naruto asked. Yes. Before Jiraiya could finish saying the one-syllable word, Naruto had already called up his staff and was trying to brain Jiraiya. Kakashi was too fast and grabbed the other end, lifting Naruto off the ground and taking away most of his power. Hitaki-sensei, please let go of my staff. No can do, Naruto-kun. You shouldn't just attack Jiraiya without hearing what he has to say. That's not like you at all. I don't need to hear him explain himself, because I already know. He'd rather I didn't change my seal, so I thought this toad oil would be a good way to do it. So I wouldn't reach one goal. He made Anko-chan sit around and do nothing while I failed at another. Jiraiya of the Sannin, is this right? Yeah, that's it, kid. Minato gave. Jiraiya jerked back as if hit by those words. I don't care. Seals either work or they don't. Feelings don't change facts, and they don't give you the right to tell me what to do with my body. Yes, if what you do puts the whole village in danger. Naruto, you could break the seal. And I would die. I'm not interested in death, so I have a lot of reason to make sure that any changes or additions I make are well researched. If this was about risk, you would have looked at my first list, but you didn't. Minato sacrificed. I do. Not care. Well, I do, brat. He was like my son, so I won't let you mess with his final work just because you think you can do it better. The seal works as it should, and as long as I have your key, I won't loosen it so you can make changes. I have already made another key, so I don't need your permission. You do that to get the toad oil. I'll make sure they don't give it to you, and I'll only give you enough for Anko's procedure. You could have always done that. Just because I know it's there doesn't mean I know how to get it. I find your irrational behavior annoying, and I don't want to be around you anymore, Naruto said, putting his staff back together, landing on the ground, and turning to Kakashi. Hitaki-sensei, I know those books are important to you, and my threat to put them away was just an opening move. I had other ways to get you to agree, but they won't be needed. Since it is within my rights to do so, I name you the editor of all Icha manuscripts until further notice. In return, I want 2B rank Doten Jutsu. Sai, I'll see you soon, but I need some time alone. Good day. Naruto didn't wait for a reply, he just left with a shunshin. Sai told Jiraiya, that was a really stupid thing to do. The Toad Sage sighed and walked away with his shoulders slouched. Anko asked Kakashi, hey, are you still with us? He asked back, Ma, did you say something? Guy said, that's so cool, and Anko just laughed at the Cyclops. Anko, you never told us why you were late, Kurenai told her. Oh, I wanted to thank the Gaki because I hadn't seen him since he took it off. It looked like he was having a sleepover of sorts, because I saw at least 3 girls in his apartment. The last Hitaki did a small fist pump, which no one saw. Minato-sensei's son couldn't fail, so he knew he had made the right choice. The gentleman pervert was going in the right direction. Naruto told his guests, Haku sometimes sleeps with me because she gets cold, and they all laughed. Anko had seen 3 girls in Naruto's apartment, but Hinata, Ino, Haku, and Tenten were there too. Haku told the others about Naruto's fight with Jiraiya, and the first 3 were there to cheer up their friend. At first, Tenten was there because she liked the seals Naruto gave his team, which helped them with their mission. The young weapons master didn't hide the fact that she wanted some of that sweet fuinjutsu. Since they were there, Naruto asked them what they thought about the mattresses and bedding he planned to put in each bedroom of the apartments he was renting out. All of them liked the mattress, which is nice and firm but still gives a little bit. Hinata asked Naruto where he got the idea for the heated and heavy blanket. That's when he told her that Haku sometimes slept in his bed. The Uzumaki thought that her bloodline was what made her cold, and Haku let him think that, but he never really confirmed it. She just liked her Naru snuggles. Hinata saw that Haku's face wasn't as angelic as it usually was, and she thought that the Yuki was lying. She didn't want to lose or come in second, so she quickly set up a sleepover and ran out with Ino to get some new pajamas and tell her clan she would be spending the night with a friend. She was lucky that her father was out, so she didn't have to answer too many questions. The same was true for Ino. Hinata had a small epiphany as she and Ino-chan walked back to Naruto's apartment. This could be an unplanned celebration of your win, Ino-chan, she thought. Yeah, I guess so. I haven't done anything like this since I broke up with Sakura, said Ino with a hint of regret. Hinata told her, there is time for you two to make up. Besides, I've never done this before, so you'll have to show me the ropes. The Yamanaka couldn't stand the fact that she wasn't surprised by that. She had responsibilities and expectations because she was an heiress, but not as much as Hinata did. Her early shyness made things worse. She decided to show her new friend what it was like to be a young person, since staying the night at a friend's house was a rite of passage. Don't worry, Hinata-chan, I'll walk you through it. Most of it is just staying up too late, eating junk food, and talking. The Hyuga said, I don't think I have much to talk about. We'll have to fix that, but I want to know who that hot girl was who was all over your man and why she was so grateful to him. Naruto-kun isn't my man yet, Hinata said with a slight blush. We're just best friends. Oh, so inviting yourself to stay over isn't an attempt to sleep in his bed like Haku has? Hinata put on a serious face and said, it's beneath a Hyuga's pride to do something like that. She laughed when she saw Ino look horrified for a moment. Never scare me with the Hyuga mask, it's scary. Sorry, Ino-chan, but I had to get you back for teasing me about Naruto-kun. The two kunoichi kept talking until they reached their destination and were met by Haku, who was wearing a soft pink kimono. The Yuki also had 3 whisker marks on each cheek and ears on top of her head that looked like bunny ears. Haku said, welcome back, as she led them in. As they walked in, they saw Tenten talking to Naruto, who was wearing fennec fox ears. Tenten had the same whisker marks and panda ears as Naruto, but she sounded more pleading as she rocked the bowl of popcorn on her lap. Naruto was interesting, and he was perfectly calm even though he had a bowl of treats on his lap. Come on, Chibi, tell me where you got those things that look like restriction beads. I made them, Tenten-san, but they are still prototypes because I haven't given them to the village quartermaster yet. How good are you at Fuinjutsu? I self-study, but it's slow going. When did you start? I began when I was 8 years old, after Iruka-sensei brought up the subject at the academy. Tenten asked, how good are you? The blonde's teammate said that he made those beads, but Kakashi-sensei didn't want the pinkette to say that. Good for my age, Tenten-san, Naruto said, and he heard a bunch of snickers behind him. He turned around and saw his first 2 friends. Hinata-chan, Ino-chan, you're back. You have to try this mixture. What did Tenten-san call it? Just Tenten and Puppy Chow is fine, Naruto. Okay, Tenten. But this is so delicious, and Tenten didn't even measure anything. She just used her eyes, which aren't very good. Tenten asked in a frustrated tone, why are you so excited about this and not the tagless Fuinjutsu you use? This made the other girls in the room laugh. Those were pretty easy to make, and I've never had Puppy Chow before. When I wanted something sweet, my Oji-san always told me to eat fruit. What do you mean, easy? I looked at the seals, and those weren't standard, and they weren't painted on. Chakra etching is advanced, and most sealing experts never learn it, Tenten said, getting angry at how stupid the boy was being. Naruto said, oh, they should, but he didn't realize he was making his guest crazy. Hinata tried to make Tenten feel better by telling her, you should know that sealing is easy for Naruto-kun, so he doesn't realize how amazing some of the things he can do are. Using your eyes is a much harder way to get the right ratio. Tell me, Tenten, how do you know how much peanut butter and chocolate to use? I don't know, Naruto. Practice. Asked the Team 9 kunoichi to the boy who seemed more interested in a simple party snack than a normal person should be. When there was a break in the conversation, Ino asked, what's up with the whiskers and animal ears? Tenten said that parties like this usually have a theme, and since Naruto-kun is hosting, I thought it would be fun to imitate his cute whisker marks. There are 2 more in the bedroom for when you get changed, so Hinata and Ino went there. Hinata is wearing a lavender camisole and Ino is wearing a lilac one. They are both wearing black pajama pants. Hinata had a pair of cat ears on her head, and Ino had a pair of dog ears. Haku thought it would be rude to have pig ears. When they got back, Haku said, now that everyone is here and properly dressed, what do we do? Tenten grumbled because she was wearing a baggy shirt and shorts, which made her feel a little self-conscious. Well, started Ino, it was usually just a lot of talk about cute boys, but at the academy it was all about Sasuke-kun. Just Sasuke? Asked Tenten in disbelief and saw Ino nod. Honestly, it sounds creepy now, but I think that because he was a blank slate, we could make up any story we wanted about him. He was the perfect crush. Yeah, that's how a lot of girls felt about Neji. He was last year's prodigy graduate, and all the girls were crazy about him. I even had a bit of a crush on him. Haku asked. Had? What had changed? I'm always around him. He's smart and will be a great ninja one day, but he treats too many people badly, including our teammate Lee. Talent and good looks don't make up for being a jerk. Who knows if he'll ever get his stuff together, but for now the spell is broken. Ino asked. What about your other teammate, Lee? Tenten laughed and said, Lee works harder than anyone you'll ever meet. He gives his all at everything, from being a good teammate to being a great friend. I just wish Guy-sensei would tell Lee to be himself and not a copy of himself. And you, Hinata? How's your team doing? Good. Shino-kun is very smart and level-headed, and Kiba can be rude, but he keeps our spirits up. Both of them work well in groups, so we get along very well. Tenten asked. Do you just see them as teammates, or do you see something more? Hinata saw that a certain blue-eyed Uzumaki was now paying full attention to her before she could answer. She replied by shaking her head. No, we'll be good friends, but I don't see either of them that way, she said, trying not to laugh when Naruto went back to eating the puppy chow. You're both lucky. My teammates are so lazy. I understand Shikamaru because he understands everything so quickly that he can get by without much effort, but one day he's going to run into something he can't understand or outthink. Choji is so lazy and lets Shika do his thinking for him. Worse of all, they call me a fangirl, so they don't listen to me when I say we need to train more. Now, I have to kick their butts until they listen to me. What about you, Naruto-kun? He asked without saying anything because his mouth was full. Hinata asked Naruto-kun, tell us about your team. What do you think of them? Naruto swallowed and then rubbed his chin as he thought, we are not close as a team. Hitaki-sensei and I get along well, and I enjoy his teachings and presence. Sasuke-san often seems annoyed by me, but he won't say what's bothering him or how he feels, so I can't figure out what the problem is. Sakura-san is sometimes friendly, but other times she seems angry with me because we work well enough together, but we often require Hitaki-sensei to unilaterally resolve disputes. There is no real synthesis between us and I often feel a cold on the inside when in their presence for prolonged periods. I think I am the issue, but I do not know how I am the issue, so I can't help resolve it. I wish, like each of you, I could find friends in my teammates, but outside of Hitaki-sensei, I doubt I will. When Naruto spoke, all of the girls frowned, but Hinata did it more than the others. She scolded herself for not having asked sooner. She sometimes forgot that just because he didn't complain didn't mean that nothing was bothering him. His team's dynamic is off because it doesn't have Kiba's stubbornness and Ino's loud mouth, which her team has. Instead, it seems like each person just works around the others and does this long enough to finish missions. Not good, because putting your life in the hands of others and working as a team like this only looks professional, but it isn't. Hinata said, once you become Chunin, Naruto-kun, you can switch teams. He saw a spark of something in his eyes. Do you think that I could work with Sai? It's a possibility, Hinata said. I don't want to leave Hitaki-sensei because he still has a lot to teach me, but I think it might be fun to work with a real friend. We still haven't really hung out with Sai, Naruto-kun, said Ino. Oh, well, Haku has, but I'll try to set up something. Maybe a training day and a picnic. That's what we usually do. I'd be up for it, replied Ino. Hinata agreed, saying, I'd like that, too. Tenten, I know we aren't friends yet, but you are welcome to come hang out with us. Sure. We can always use some new training partners. You can bring more puppy chow, right? She said, sure, Naruto, and rolled her eyes. And maybe you could add some peanuts. He pushed, not caring that the other girls were laughing at him because they didn't usually see him like this. Yeah. I guess in theory you could add anything you want, she said with a dismissive wave of her hand. Naruto's eyes got a little wider as he said, you can? Yes, Tenten said, laughing because he thought it was just too cute. The 5 people kept talking all night, with Naruto taking a break at one point to set up the bedroom. 20 minutes later, he came back to tell his guests that the place to sleep was ready, and they all followed him back. The girls didn't expect to see their sleeping bags put together like a bed, and they definitely didn't expect to see them float in the air at the same height as Naruto's bed. This made Tenten sad for a moment. Okay, you know what? No, just stop it, Naruto. How? And why aren't any of you freaking out? This is close to magic to me, and I know seals, she said as she frantically pointed to the floating, makeshift bed. It's Naruto-kun, said Ino, shrugging. She didn't get it, and she would get wrinkles if she tried, so why bother? She just put it in a box and said it was Naruto-kun stuff. Okay. I'm tired and you're messing with my head, but can you tell me how the sleeping bags are floating? Magnetic levitation, said Naruto. Tenten asked, magnetic levitation? He didn't know the answer, so he just watched the Uzumaki nod. She wanted to keep going, but she knew that would keep her from going to sleep, and she needed sleep because she was sure this seal prodigy would drive her crazy. Naruto hadn't noticed that there were 2 more people in his bed until Tenten told him. Haku being there didn't surprise him, but Hinata did. Hitaki-sensei said that a gentleman should never make assumptions, so Naruto asked Hinata-chan, "Do you want me to sleep somewhere else?" No, of course not. The bed is big enough for all 3 of us, as long as Haku-chan doesn't mind sharing. Oh, I don't mind, Hinata-chan. Do you? Having to share something that was once just yours can be a big change. No, I don't mind. If the person I'm sharing with isn't doing it in good faith, I'll do whatever it takes to make sure sharing is never an issue again. Naruto didn't know why, but he felt like their words had more meaning than he was getting, and their smiles weren't like normal smiles.
However, he just brushed it off because he was tired and wanted to sleep. After getting used to his new position, the Uzumaki was between Hinata-chan and Haku. Hinata-chan's back was against him, and every now and then, the girl would shift and rub up against him, which he didn't mind at all. Haku was standing behind him and occasionally ran her hands through his hair, which he also liked. At the time, he was a very happy seal master.
After everyone was settled, it was Ino who noticed something obvious. Man, the lights are still on and I'm all comfy. Naruto, who didn't want to move and had been forced to get out of bed to turn off the lights before, already had a plan. When he clapped twice, the lights went out.
Tenten yelled, "What the shit?" as her mind broke apart. Oh well. Good night anyway. Good night, Ino said over and over. Good night, everyone, the Yuki said. Pleasant dreams, said Hinata. Good night, Datbeo.
I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.